Naruto Uzumaki woke up to a morning filled with promise. The first rays of the sun bathed his apartment, now transformed into a lush oasis of greenery. Each plant, from the resilient cactus on the shelf to the vibrant sunflowers by the window, was thriving, reflecting Naruto's growing skill in gardening. As he made his way to the kitchen, Naruto felt a sense of contentment. His routine had become a comforting rhythm of nurturing his plants and honing his skills, both as a ninja and in his everyday life. Today, however, was special. It was the day of team formations at the academy, a milestone that marked the beginning of his journey as a genin. While preparing breakfast, Naruto's attention was caught by a familiar chime from his gamer interface. A pop-up window materialized, announcing, "Skill acquired. Culinary beginner." A smile spread across his face. He had finally mastered the basics of cooking, a feat that had taken considerable time and effort, especially without a teacher to guide him. It was a small victory, but a meaningful one, reflecting his determination to improve in all aspects of his life. To his surprise and delight, acquiring the culinary skill also resulted in a level up. Naruto pondered where to allocate his newly earned skill points. He had always focused on maintaining a balance in his attributes, not yet certain of the path he would specialize in. Deciding to continue this approach, he chose to invest the points into his strength, enhancing his physical capabilities to match his other growing skills. As he enjoyed his breakfast, Naruto's thoughts drifted to the upcoming team formations. He wondered who he would be paired with and who he hoped to have by his side on this new journey. Ideally, he wanted teammates who complemented his strengths and compensated for his weaknesses, allies who could grow alongside him. In his mind, a few classmates stood out. Hinata, with her quiet strength and keen insight, would be a valuable teammate. Her growth in the academy had been remarkable, and Naruto knew her potential was far from being fully realized. Then there was Shikamaru, whose strategic mind and calm demeanor could provide the tactical edge they might need on missions. And of course, there was Choji, whose loyalty and strength would be a solid foundation for any team. Naruto also thought about Sasuke. Despite their rivalry, he couldn't deny Sasuke's skills and the way their competitive nature pushed them both to be better. Being on the same team could be challenging, but it might also be the push Naruto needed to reach new heights. As he finished his breakfast and prepared for the day, Naruto felt a mix of excitement and uncertainty. The team he would be assigned to could shape his path as a ninja in profound ways. He was ready to embrace this new chapter, to learn from and with his teammates, and to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Stepping out of his apartment, Naruto took a deep breath, feeling the morning sun warm against his skin. Today was not just another day, it was the beginning of a new adventure, a new chapter in his life as a ninja. With a heart full of dreams and determination, Naruto headed towards the academy, ready to meet his destiny head-on. He just took a quick peek at his stats screen on the way. Naruto Uzumaki level 13. Strength 23. Dexterity 22. Constitution 31. Intelligence 22. Wisdom 21. Charisma 15. Luck 23. Derived stats *. Health points HP 403. Health regen HR 47. Chakra capacity CP 2204. Chakra control CC 75.25. Special modifiers *. Uzumaki heritage. Constitution increase +10. Constitution increase +25%. Health regeneration increased by 25%. Skill aptitude, special affinity for a skill. Kyubi Jinchuriki. Reputation with Konoha -25. Relationship with Hiruzen Sarutobi +50. Chakra capacity increased by 50%. Chakra control decreased by 25%. Health regeneration increased by another 25%, total 50%. Luck increase +10. Bad diet eliminated. Skills *. Perception, beginner 250-250, intermediate 500-500. Basic taijutsu, beginner 250-250, intermediate 500-500. Basic ninjutsu, beginner 250-250, intermediate 100/500. Basic Bukujutsu, Beginner 250 of 250. Basic Fuinjutsu, Beginner 250-250, Intermediate 500-500, Advanced 557/750. Gardening, Beginner 250-250, Intermediate 115/500. Tracking, Beginner 250 of 250. Knowledge History, Basic 200 of 250. Knowledge Geography, Basic 150 of 250. Knowledge Chakra Theory, Basic 100 of 250. Jutsu**. Shadow Clone Jutsu, 100 out of 1000. Shadow Shuriken Jutsu, 100 of 1000. Mutually Multiplying Explosive Tags, 100/1000. Substitution Jutsu, 350/1000. Transformation Jutsu, 250/1000. Edo Tensai Prerequisites Not Met. Hairishin Prerequisites Not Met. Shiki Fuin Prerequisites Not Met. Infinite Darkness Prerequisites Not Met. Naruto arrived at the Ninja Academy earlier than usual, the morning air crisp and energizing. His mind was abuzz with thoughts about the upcoming team assignments and the people who had supported him during his recent ordeal. He hoped to meet some of them before the ceremony began to express his gratitude in person. As he approached the academy grounds, he noticed Hinata arriving with her father, Hayashi Hyuga, and her younger sister, Hanabi. The Hyuga family was known for their prestigious status and formidable abilities, but it was their complex family dynamics that often intrigued Naruto. Hayashi was a figure of stoic authority, his demeanor reflecting the seriousness and discipline synonymous with the Hyuga clan. Despite his typically reserved and stern nature, there was a subtle softness in his eyes as he looked at Hinata today. It was a rare sight, and it spoke volumes about the significance of this day for both the father and his eldest daughter. Hinata, clad in her ninja attire, stood tall and composed, a stark contrast to the shy girl Naruto had first met at the academy. Her achievements as the top kunoichi and second overall in their class were a testament to her dedication and hard work. Hanabi, though younger, watched her sister with a mixture of admiration and competitiveness that was characteristic of the Hyuga siblings. Gathering his courage, Naruto approached the Hyuga family, his usual confident demeanor tinged with a hint of nervousness. "Morning, Hinata." "And good morning to you too, Lord Hayashi." Hanabi, he greeted them, his voice louder than necessary, betraying his inner anxiety. Hinata turned towards him, a gentle smile gracing her features. "A good morning, Naruto-kun," she replied, her voice soft yet steady. Hayashi's gaze shifted to Naruto, scrutinizing the young ninja who had become a topic of much discussion in the Hyuga household. "Uzumaki," he acknowledged with a nod, his voice firm but not unkind. Naruto shuffled his feet slightly, feeling the weight of Hayashi's presence. "Dai. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you," he stammered. "For vouching for me, for believing in me. It means a lot." Hayashi regarded Naruto with a measured look, then spoke in a tone that was more reflective than usual. "You have already done a service to the Hyuga clan, Naruto. Assisting Hinata in her growth, challenging her in ways that we could not. Your actions have made her stronger, more confident. Consider us even." Naruto blinked in surprise, processing Hayashi's words. The acknowledgement from the stoic clan leader was unexpected but deeply appreciated. He glanced at Hinata, whose cheeks were tinged with a faint blush, and then back at Hayashi. "Thank you, Lord Hayashi," Naruto said, his voice sincere. "I'm just glad I could help Hinata. She's amazing and she's taught me a lot too." Hayashi gave a slight nod, the closest thing to a smile that Naruto had ever seen on the man's face. "Continue to support each other. That is the way of comrades of shinobi." As the Hyuga family prepared to leave, Hanabi gave Naruto a quick, curious glance before following her father. Hinata lingered for a moment, her eyes meeting Naruto's. "Good luck today, Naruto-kun. I hope we end up on the same team." Naruto grinned, his nervousness replaced by excitement. "Me too, Hinata. That'd be awesome." With that, Hinata turned and walked away, joining her family. Naruto watched them go, feeling a renewed sense of gratitude and determination. Today was not just another day at the academy, it was the beginning of his journey as a genin, and he was ready to face it head-on, with the support of friends and allies like the Hyugas by his side. As the time for team assignments drew near, Shikamaru Nara made his appearance, albeit in a less than enthusiastic manner. He was being ushered along by his mother, Yoshino, whose vibrant energy was a stark contrast to her son's laid-back demeanor. Shikaku, Shikamaru's father, followed behind, an amused smile on his face as he watched the scene unfold. Shikamaru, with his typical disinterested expression, seemed resigned to his mother's insistence. Yoshino, with a determined look, was clearly not going to let her son be late for such an important event. Naruto, spotting the Nara family approaching, waved energetically at them. "Shikamaru! Over here," he called out, his voice filled with excitement. Shikamaru raised a hand in a half-hearted wave, a resigned sigh escaping his lips as he neared Naruto. "Hey, Naruto," he greeted, his tone casual despite his mother's brisk pace. Yoshino finally released her grip on Shikamaru, giving him a stern look that softened into a smile. "Make sure you're paying attention, Shikamaru. Today is important," she advised, her tone a mix of sternness and affection. Shikaka chuckled, patting his son on the back. "Don't worry, Yoshino. Shikamaru knows what he's doing," he said, his eyes twinkling with pride. Naruto stepped forward, his expression earnest. "Shikamaru, I wanted to thank you and your parents for petitioning the Hokage for me," he said, his gratitude evident. Shikamaru shrugged, trying to downplay his role. "It wasn't a big deal. You would have done the same for any of us," he replied, his lazy demeanor belying the depth of their friendship. Yoshino smiled at Naruto, her gaze warm. "We know you've worked hard, Naruto. You've earned your place here," she said, acknowledging Naruto's efforts and growth. Shikaka nodded in agreement, his eyes meeting Naruto's. "You've shown a lot of determination and heart, Naruto. That's what being a shinobi is all about." Naruto's cheeks flushed with a mix of pride and embarrassment at the praise. Thanks. I won't let you down," he promised, his voice filled with resolve. As the Naras prepared to leave, Yoshino gave Naruto one last encouraging smile, while Shikaku offered a nod of respect. Shikamaru, lingering for a moment, gave Naruto a lazy grin. "Let's see what teams we end up on. Just try not to drag me into too much trouble, alright?" Naruto laughed, a light-hearted spark in his eyes. "No promises, Shikamaru." With that, the Nara family departed, leaving Naruto to reflect on the support and camaraderie he had found in his friends and their families. As the academy doors opened for the team assignments, Naruto stepped inside, ready to embark on the next phase of his journey as a shinobi, buoyed by the bonds he had forged and the challenges he had overcome. In the brightly lit Ninja Academy classroom, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. The young graduates eagerly awaited their team assignments, a pivotal moment that would shape their future as ninjas. Naruto, having arrived just in time, quickly found a seat. He glanced around, his eyes reflecting a mix of excitement and curiosity. Iruka entered the room, clipboard in hand, and the chatter dwindled to silence. He surveyed the room with a serious yet proud gaze. "Today, you all begin a new chapter in your lives as ninjas of Konoha," Iruka announced. "Your teams have been carefully chosen to balance your strengths and complement your weaknesses." Naruto sat up straight, his heart pounding in anticipation. The moment he had been waiting for was finally here. As Iruka's voice announced the formation of Team 7, a wave of reactions swept through the classroom. Team 7, under Jonin-sensei Kakashi Hatake, Naruto Uzumaki, Shikamaru Nara, Hinata Hyuga. Naruto's reaction was immediate and exuberant. His face lit up with a broad grin, his eyes shining with excitement. He had hoped to be placed with Shikamaru and Hinata, and hearing their names alongside his own felt like a personal victory. He pumped his fist in the air, unable to contain his joy. "Yes," he exclaimed, his voice brimming with enthusiasm. "This is going to be awesome." Shikamaru, in contrast, let out a resigned sigh, though there was a hint of a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. He had expected to be placed on a team with Naruto, given their close bond, and while he outwardly displayed his usual nonchalance, there was an underlying sense of camaraderie and anticipation. "Troublesome," he muttered, but the light in his eyes betrayed his true feelings of contentment at being teamed up with his friends. Hinata's reaction was more subdued but no less meaningful. A soft blush colored her cheeks as her name was called alongside Naruto's. She lowered her gaze momentarily, a gesture of her inherent shyness, but when she looked up again, her eyes sparkled with a quiet resolve. Being placed on the same team as Naruto, someone she admired and respected, filled her with a sense of pride and determination. She clasped her hands together, a small nod acknowledging the honor and the responsibility of being a part of Team 7. Around them, their classmates whispered among themselves, some with envy, others with curiosity. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata were known for their distinctive personalities and skills, and the combination of their talents under the guidance of Kakashi Hatake, a highly respected jonin, promised a dynamic and formidable team. As the murmurs subsided, Naruto glanced over at Shikamaru and Hinata, a sense of solidarity building between them. Shikamaru offered a lazy, yet genuine, smile, and Hinata, meeting Naruto's gaze, gave a small but confident nod. There was an unspoken agreement among them, a shared understanding that they were about to embark on a journey that would challenge and shape them in ways they couldn't yet imagine. Naruto's heart swelled with pride and anticipation. He was eager to begin this new chapter, to grow alongside his teammates, and to prove himself under the tutelage of Kakashi. As Team 7, they would face the future together, each bringing their unique strengths to the table, united by their shared goals and the unwavering will of fire that burned within each of them. Team 8, under Jonin Sensei Kurenai Yuhi, Sakura Haruno, Choji Akimichi, Shino Aburame. As Iruka announced Team 8, Sakura Haruno's initial reaction was a swift glance around the room, her eyes searching, perhaps hoping to find herself placed alongside Sasuke. However, as the reality of her team formation settled in, her expression shifted. The disappointment that might have flickered across her face was quickly replaced by a look of determination. Sakura straightened her back, her resolve firming as she faced the prospect of being under Kurenai Yuhi's guidance. She understood that her journey as a shinobi was about personal growth and mastering her skills, and being placed in a team without Sasuke could be the opportunity she needed to forge her own path. Choji Akimichi's response to the team announcement was much more straightforward. His smile broadened, lighting up his features with genuine happiness. For Choji, the composition of the team mattered less than the adventure ahead. His easygoing nature and ability to get along with almost anyone made him an ideal team player. The prospect of new friendships and experiences was enough to fill him with joy and anticipation for the challenges they would face together. Shino Aburame, true to his character, remained unfazed by the announcement. He simply nodded, his calm demeanor as steady as ever. Behind his opaque glasses, however, there was a keen mind at work, already analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of his new team. Shino's quiet confidence stemmed from his unique abilities and deep understanding of strategy. He recognized the potential for synergy within this diverse group and was prepared to contribute his skills to their collective success. The dynamic within Team 8 promised to be an interesting one. Under the mentorship of Kurenai Yuhi, known for her expertise in genjutsu and her keen insights into her students' abilities, each member stood to gain a great deal. Kurenai's guidance would undoubtedly help Sakura refine her chakra control and enhance her already budding talents. Choji's strength and Shino's tactical acumen would complement each other, creating a balanced and effective unit. As Sakura steadied her gaze, Choji's smile remained warm, and Shino's nod was one of acceptance. The members of Team 8 began to see the potential in their formation. There was a sense of unspoken agreement among them, a willingness to learn and grow together, to support each other through the trials ahead. Team 10, under Jonin Sensei Asuma Sarutobi, Sasuke Uchiha, Ino Yamanaka, Kiba Inazuka. When Iruka announced Team 10, the reactions were as varied as the personalities of its new members. Sasuke Uchiha's expression, ever cool and stoic, betrayed no hint of his thoughts on the team assignment. His dark eyes remained fixed on Iruka, giving away nothing of whether he approved or disapproved of his placement. Sasuke's composure, a hallmark of his character, underscored his resolve to pursue his goals, regardless of the company he was assigned to. His singular focus on his personal vendetta left little room for anything else, team dynamics included. In contrast, Ino Yamanaka's reaction was immediately visible, her face breaking into a bright smile that reflected both her excitement and surprise. For Ino, being placed on a team with Sasuke, the object of her affection, was an unexpected bonus. Yet, beyond her initial delight, there was a deeper acknowledgement of the opportunity this represented. Ino understood that under Asuma Sarutobi's guidance, she would have the chance to sharpen her skills and carve out her own place within the shinobi world. Her enthusiasm was not just for the chance to be near Sasuke but for the journey ahead as a kunoichi. Kiba Inuzuka's response was as animated as his personality. His fist punched the air, a gesture of his readiness to tackle whatever challenges lay ahead. Kiba's energy, always just beneath the surface, found an outlet in his immediate acceptance and excitement for his new team. Akamaru, ever by his side, barked in agreement, mirroring his partner's enthusiasm. Kiba's straightforward and spirited nature made him a valuable team member, ready to leap into action and face obstacles head-on. Team 10, led by Asuma Sarutobi, promised a dynamic blend of talents and temperaments. Asuma, with his calm strength and profound wisdom, was well-suited to guide this eclectic group. His experience and insight would be key in harnessing Sasuke's determination, Ino's intelligence, and Kiba's vigor towards a common goal. As Sasuke maintained his impassive facade, Ino's excitement and Kiba's unabashed enthusiasm set the tone for Team 10's inception. The diversity within the team, under Asuma's seasoned leadership, hinted at the potential for significant growth and development. Each member brought unique strengths to the table, and their interactions, both challenging and rewarding, would shape their path as shinobi. As Iruka continued announcing the teams, the students reacted with a mix of emotions, some with joy, others with contemplative acceptance. The realization of their new roles was beginning to set in. As the newly assigned teams of young ninja settled in, Iruka stood at the front of the classroom, his eyes sweeping over the faces of his students. Each of them bore a mixture of excitement, nervousness, and anticipation for the journey that lay ahead. Clearing his throat, Iruka began to speak, his voice resonating with a mixture of pride and solemnity. Today marks a significant milestone in your lives. You are no longer students of this academy, you are now shinobi of Konoha. This transition is more than a change of title, it is an acceptance of responsibility, a commitment to the values and duties that define our village. He paused, allowing his words to sink in. Being a shinobi is not just about mastering jutsu or completing missions. It is about embodying the spirit of Konoha, the will of fire. This will of fire represents the enduring spirit of our village, the unyielding determination to protect our people, and the unbreakable bond we share as a community. Iruka's gaze became distant, reflective. The life of a shinobi is fraught with challenges. You will face dangers that test not only your skills but your heart and soul. You will encounter moments that will require you to make difficult decisions, where the line between right and wrong is blurred. He looked at each of them intently. In such times, remember the will of fire. Remember that you carry the hopes and dreams of those who came before you and those who stand with you. Your actions should be guided by the love for your village and the desire to protect your fellow shinobi. Iruka's voice grew stronger, more impassioned. You will carry the legacy of Konoha wherever you go. Your conduct, your achievements, and your sacrifices will add to the rich tapestry of our village's history. The will of fire is not just a legacy you inherit, it is a legacy you contribute to. He walked slowly amongst them, his expression earnest. Each of you has the potential to be great. Not just in terms of strength or skill, but in your capacity to lead, to inspire, and to make a difference. As shinobi of Konoha, you are guardians of our way of life, defenders of our values, and the hope for our future. Iruka stopped, his eyes scanning the room one last time. As you embark on this journey, take pride in your role. Uphold the honor of being a Konoha shinobi. Support one another, learn from your experiences, and grow not just as ninja but as individuals. Embrace the will of fire, let it guide you, and let it remind you of who you are and what you stand for. With that, Iruka stepped back, his speech concluded. His words lingered in the air, a powerful reminder of the path they had chosen. The young shinobi sat in thoughtful silence, contemplating the gravity of their new roles and the legacy they were now a part of. Once the announcements concluded, Iruka addressed them one last time. You will meet your Jonin senseis in 1 hour. Use this time wisely to get acquainted with your teammates. The journey ahead will be challenging, but I have faith in all of you. As the afternoon sun cast a warm glow over the village, Team 7 found themselves seated at Ichiraka Ramen, the scent of broth and fresh noodles filling the air. Naruto's laughter and chatter dominated the small eatery, his excitement at being placed on the same team with two of his best friends, Hinata and Shikamaru, palpable. This is awesome. We're gonna be the best team ever, he exclaimed, his enthusiasm infectious. Hinata, seated beside Naruto, shared in the joy, though her demeanor was more subdued. A gentle smile graced her lips, her cheeks adorned with a faint blush, not just from Naruto's proximity but from witnessing his unbridled happiness at their team formation. Her eyes, filled with a quiet ecstasy, occasionally met Naruto's, reflecting a depth of emotion and shared dreams for their future as a team. Shikamaru, for his part, leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful expression on his face. While he felt a twinge of sadness at not being teamed up with Choji, his childhood friend, he recognized the potential of their new grouping. Troublesome as it might be, we've got a good balance here, he mused, a slight smile creeping onto his face. We could really work well together. The strategic mind within him already began to see the myriad ways their skills could complement each other, despite his outwardly laid-back attitude. Unbeknownst to the trio, their Jonin sensei, Kakashi Hatake, observed them from a distance, his presence expertly concealed. Through his one visible eye, he watched the interactions of his new team with a mixture of curiosity and amusement. So, Naruto's enthusiasm hasn't waned a bit, Kakashi thought, noting the blonde ninja's animated gestures and boundless energy. And Hinata, her quiet strength could be the backbone of this team. As for Shikamaru, his intellect will undoubtedly be their guiding light. As lunch continued, Naruto's boisterous storytelling about their potential missions and the adventures they would embark on filled the air. Hinata listened intently, her support unwavering, while Shikamaru occasionally chimed in with his own dry wit and tactical insights, grounding Naruto's more outlandish ideas. Their camaraderie was evident, a bond that would only strengthen with time. Kakashi, still watching from his hidden vantage point, made a silent vow to nurture their talents, to challenge them, and to prepare them for the realities of life as a shinobi. Team 7, he thought, a sense of anticipation building, your journey begins now. As the team finished their meal, laughter and plans for their future filling the small ramen shop, Kakashi quietly disappeared, the afternoon sun casting long shadows behind him. The path ahead for Team 7 would be fraught with challenges, but for now, the joy of new beginnings and the promise of tomorrow shone brightly in their hearts. Team 8 found themselves at a quaint tea house, a serene spot favored for its calm atmosphere, perfect for a team whose dynamics spanned the spectrum from the energetic to the contemplative. Sakura Haruno, Choji Akimichi, and Shino Aburame sat around a low table, steaming cups of tea and plates of light snacks before them. Sakura, initially taken aback by not being placed on Sasuke's team, shifted her focus to the potential of her current team. I think we have a lot to offer each other, she said, more to herself than her teammates, her determination setting in. Every team is formed with balance in mind, right? We can be strong together. Choji, always the optimist, smiled broadly, his thoughts on the camaraderie and meals they'd share. As long as we have each other's backs, we'll be fine. Plus, we can always find the best places to eat after missions, he joked, lightening the mood. Shino, ever the stoic one, nodded in agreement. Do our individual strengths complement each other well? Efficiency and strategy will be our allies, he stated, his calm demeanor reassuring. His analytical mind was already piecing together how their skills could intertwine in the field. Team 10's celebration took place at a lively barbecue spot, the air filled with the aroma of grilling meat and the sounds of bustling activity. Sasuke Uchiha, Ino Yamanaka, and Kiba Inuzuka, along with Kiba's loyal dog Akamaru, gathered around a grill, the task of cooking their meals serving as their first unofficial team activity. Sasuke, typically reserved, allowed a rare, small smile to cross his face as he watched his teammates bicker over who would grill the meat. Despite his cool exterior, he recognized the strategic advantage of their diverse abilities. Just make sure you don't burn it, he quipped, his voice carrying a hint of amusement. Ino, ever the social butterfly, was thrilled at the prospect of shaping their team's dynamic. We're going to be amazing, she declared confidently, flipping a piece of meat with expert precision. Our skills are so different, we're bound to cover all bases. Kiba, brimming with energy, was already planning their first mission together. We're gonna show them what we're made of. Right, Akamaru? He exclaimed, receiving an enthusiastic bark in reply. His adventurous spirit and strong bond with Akamaru promised a unique edge to their team's capabilities. Their Jonin sensei Asuma Sarutobi watched from a distance, his presence unnoticed by the team. He was content to let them navigate their initial interactions independently, knowing the importance of building trust and camaraderie. As laughter and playful arguments filled the air, Asuma knew Team 10 was off to a strong start, their diverse personalities and skills laying the groundwork for a formidable team. The atmosphere in the classroom after lunch was one of nostalgia and anticipation. The newly graduated genin, now divided into teams, understood that the dynamics of their interactions were about to change. It was a moment of promise, but also of parting ways with the routine camaraderie that had characterized their time at the academy. Sakura found Ino among the crowd, her determination shining through her words. "Just because Sasuke is on your team, doesn't mean I'm backing down," she declared, a playful challenge in her eyes. Ino, undeterred and equally competitive, responded with a grin, "May the best woman win." Their rivalry, tempered by a deep-seated friendship, promised to endure despite the new team alignments. Meanwhile, Shikamaru and Choji shared a quiet moment away from the others. "Guess we won't be lounging around together as much," Shikamaru mused, his voice tinged with a rare hint of sentimentality. Choji clapped him on the back, "We'll still have our missions and our meals. Nothing's really changing." Their friendship, solid and unshakable, would easily transcend the boundaries of team assignments. Naruto and Sasuke, ever the rivals, engaged in a boastful exchange. "Just watch, Sasuke. I'll become stronger than you in no time," Naruto exclaimed, his spirit undimmed by the challenge. Sasuke merely smirked, his response a simple, "We'll see," that did nothing to dampen Naruto's enthusiasm. Their rivalry was as much a part of their bond as any friendship could be, driving each to greater heights. As the afternoon wore on, Kurenai Yuhi arrived to gather Team 8, her presence a signal for the beginning of their journey as shinobi under her guidance. Shortly after, Asuma Sarutobi collected Team 10, his calm demeanor promising a steady hand in their development. Kakashi Hatake, however, was conspicuously absent. Time stretched on, with Shikamaru taking the opportunity to nap and Hinata engaging in quiet meditation. Naruto, ever the prankster, prepared a welcome for their tardy Jonin-sensei. He rigged a series of low-yield explosive tags, each topped with a piece of chalk, all connected to a wire that would trigger with the opening of the door. When Kakashi finally entered, the classroom was filled with a small but dramatic explosion, covering him in a cloud of chalk dust. Naruto's laughter filled the room, a moment of levity amidst the anticipation. Kakashi, now a ghostly figure in white, fixed Naruto with a look that was both amused and exasperated. Well, my first impression is," he paused, lifting a finger coated in chalk, "I hate you. Now meet me on the roof," he stated tersely before disappearing in a blur of motion. The team, momentarily stunned, quickly gathered themselves. Shikamaru stretched, yawning, Hinata's eyes widened in surprise, and Naruto, still chuckling, led the way to the roof. Kakashi's unconventional introduction had set the tone for their journey ahead, unpredictable, challenging, and undeniably exciting. As they made their way to meet their sensei, each member of Team 7 felt the weight of the future on their shoulders, a future they would face together, under the guidance of the enigmatic Kakashi Hatake. As Team 7 ascended to the rooftop, the late afternoon sun bathed the area in a warm, golden light. The roof offered a panoramic view of the hidden leaf village, with its myriad of buildings stretching out towards the horizon, framed by the dense forests that bordered the village. The setting was serene, a gentle breeze carrying the promise of new beginnings. Kakashi Hatake awaited them, his posture relaxed yet undeniably alert. He was a figure of intrigue, his hair silver and spiky, an incongruously laid-back expression on his face that belied the sharpness of his single, visible dark eye. The other eye was concealed by his Leaf Village headband, hinting at mysteries untold. His mask, covering the lower half of his face, added an air of enigma, making it impossible to guess his thoughts or mood. After a moment of assessing his new team, Kakashi spoke, his voice calm and measured. "I suppose we should start with introductions. I'll go first, though there's not much to say. I'm Kakashi Hatake. I have many interests, though I guess you don't need to know those. My dislikes are many as well, but that's not important right now. As for my dreams, well, let's just say they're for me to know." His introduction was deliberately vague, leaving more questions than answers, a subtle test of his students' perception and curiosity. Eager and undeterred by Kakashi's succinct self-disclosure, Naruto jumped in with characteristic enthusiasm. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I love ramen, especially from Ichiraka ramen. I hate waiting for 3 minutes after pouring boiling water into instant ramen. And my dream is to become Hokage so everyone in the village will recognize and respect me. His declaration was bold, filled with the kind of earnest ambition that was unmistakably Naruto. Hinata, picking up on Kakashi's cue for brevity and perhaps the underlying lesson in his sparse introduction, chose her words with careful consideration. I'm Hinata Hyuga, she said softly, her voice steady but minimalistic. I like to train. Her cheeks colored slightly, a visible sign of her nervousness, but her eyes, meeting Kakashi's masked gaze, showed a spark of understanding. Shikamaru's turn was last, and he managed to be even more succinct than Hinata. Shikamaru Nara, he stated plainly, locking eyes with Kakashi's visible one. There was an unspoken acknowledgement in his gaze, a recognition of the silent challenge Kakashi had posed with his own introduction. Kakashi nodded, a hint of a smile visible in the crease of his eye. So maybe some of you know how to look underneath the underneath, he remarked, his voice betraying a trace of approval. Anyways, meet me at Training Ground 3 at 6 a.m. for the real genin test. The meeting was brief, but it set the stage for what was to come. Kakashi's cryptic parting words left a mixture of anticipation and curiosity in the air. As Team 7 made their way down from the roof, each member was lost in thought, pondering the true nature of the test that awaited them and what it would mean for their future as shinobi. Training Ground 3, with its open spaces and varied terrain, would be the proving ground for Team 7's cohesion, skill, and determination. It was here that they would truly begin their journey as genin under Kakashi's tutelage, a journey fraught with challenges but also filled with the potential for growth and discovery. The path ahead was uncertain, but for Naruto, Hinata, and Shikamaru, the dawn of the next day would mark the first step towards realizing their dreams and ambitions. At the break of dawn, Team 7 gathered at Training Ground 3, each member punctual and eager to prove themselves in what they assumed would be their first official day as genin under the tutelage of their new sensei, Kakashi Hatake. The air was crisp, the morning sun just beginning to peek through the trees, casting long shadows across the ground. 6 a.m. turned to 7 o'clock, then 8 o'clock, with no sign of Kakashi. Naruto paced back and forth, his initial excitement giving way to impatience. He said 6 a.m., right? Did I get it wrong? He asked, more to himself than to his teammates. Hinata, ever the calm one, tried to soothe the growing tension. Maybe Kakashi-sensei is testing our patience, she suggested, her voice gentle yet firm. Shikamaru, lying on his back and staring up at the sky, let out a long sigh. Troublesome, he muttered. Waiting like this is such a drag. What's the point? As the clock struck 9 o'clock, Naruto's frustration reached its boiling point. That's it. When he finally shows up, I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind, he declared, his hands clenched into fists. Just then, a swirl of leaves signaled Kakashi's nonchalant arrival. Sorry I'm late, he began, his eye crinkling into a smile beneath his mask. I got lost on the path of life. Naruto erupted, lost on the path of life? We've been waiting here for 3 hours. Kakashi waved off the complaint with a lazy hand. Now, let's not dwell on the details. Let me explain today's exercise. It's very simple, you just need to take these bells from me. He jingled the 2 bells attached to his hip for emphasis. The team exchanged puzzled looks, sensing there was more to the test than Kakashi let on. If you can't get a bell by noon, Kakashi continued, his tone suddenly serious, you'll go back to the academy. Oh, and the one who doesn't get a bell will be tied to that stump over there and watch while the others eat lunch. Your time starts now. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata realized the gravity of the situation. This wasn't just a test of skill, it was a test of teamwork, strategy, and resolve. And with lunch on the line, the stakes felt all the more personal. Without warning, Naruto set off a series of high-yield directional explosive seals he had prepared during the wait. The explosions were loud and bright, creating a blinding light and a thunderous noise that echoed throughout Training Ground 3. The blasts were carefully controlled to be harmless, designed to disorient rather than harm, showcasing Naruto's growing mastery over more complex ninja tools and tactics. Amid the chaos and confusion, Hinata seized the opportunity to rush in. Her movements were a blur, enhanced by the byakugan, which allowed her to navigate through the smoke and debris with precision. Her target was clear, Kakashi, and the bells tied securely to his belt. Simultaneously, Shikamaru, ever the strategist, took advantage of the situation. The bright light from the explosions provided the perfect condition for his shadow to stretch further and more quickly than it normally would under the morning sun. His shadow snaked out, a dark tendril aiming to bind Kakashi and restrict his movements, a testament to Shikamaru's keen intellect and tactical acumen. Kakashi, caught momentarily off guard by the sudden and coordinated assault, couldn't help but be impressed by their teamwork and initiative. The distraction created by Naruto, combined with Hinata's swift approach and Shikamaru's cunning use of his shadow, highlighted the potential of Team 7 when they worked together, even in the face of unexpected challenges. As the dust settled and the echoes of the explosions faded, the true test began. Kakashi now found himself facing not just 3 individual genin but a unified team, ready to employ their unique skills and strengths in tandem to achieve their goal. This moment, born out of impatience and frustration, had inadvertently set the stage for a profound lesson in teamwork, strategy, and the unpredictable nature of shinobi life. Team 7, under the guidance of Kakashi, was beginning to understand the depth and complexity of what it meant to work together as shinobi of the leaf, their actions a promising glimpse into their future as a formidable ninja team. Hidden in the thick underbrush, Team 7 gathered closely, catching their breaths from the initial, unsuccessful assault on Kakashi for the bells. Shikamaru, brow furrowed in thought, broke the silence with a calm, analytical voice. This test, it's not just about physical strength or speed. Kakashi-sensei is testing something else, our ability to work together as a team. Naruto, still buzzing with energy, nodded eagerly. So, what's the plan, Shikamaru? If we use our strengths strategically, Shikamaru proposed, his gaze shifting between Naruto and Hinata. Naruto, your explosives and clones can control the battlefield, create diversions. Hinata, your byakugan and combat skills will be key in a frontal assault. Naruto grinned, I got it. I'll make sure to give Kakashi-sensei a blast he won't forget. He was mindful of the health cost associated with his mutually multiplying explosive tags technique. Each use drained 15 points from his HP, but his health regeneration was quick to compensate, as long as he remained cautious. As the plan unfolded, Naruto's clones set to work, laying traps throughout the forest. Some were simple pitfalls hidden under leaves, others were intricate fuinjutsu barriers designed to ensnare or disorient. Amidst this preparation, Naruto felt a familiar thrill, the same rush he got from executing his pranks, but amplified by the stakes of their current mission. Skill acquired, the interface flashed before Naruto's eyes, *trap making beginner. Accumulating experience from pranks. 250 immediately followed by *skill acquired. Trap making, intermediate 100/500, his adeptness at crafting traps, honed through years of mischief, was now officially recognized by his gamer interface. Hinata, using her byakugan, scouted ahead, providing real-time feedback to the team. Her insights allowed them to adjust their strategy on the fly, coordinating their attacks with precision. The team launched several attempts to secure the bells from Kakashi. They utilized ambush tactics, leveraging Naruto's traps to disrupt Kakashi's movements and create openings for attack. Hinata's assaults were direct and focused, exploiting the brief moments Kakashi was thrown off balance by the traps. Shikamaru's shadow slithered across the battlefield, attempting to bind Kakashi and force the bells from his grasp. Despite their best efforts and the synergy they displayed, time was not on their side. The noon deadline approached rapidly, and with each passing minute, the reality of their situation grew more apparent. They were outmatched, not in spirit or effort, but in experience and perhaps, in the lesson Kakashi intended to teach. As the final seconds ticked away, Team 7 regrouped, their expressions a mix of frustration and anticipation. They had failed to secure the bells, but in the process, they had learned invaluable lessons about teamwork, strategy, and the importance of understanding each member's strengths and weaknesses. They faced Kakashi, not as defeated students, but as a united team, ready to accept the consequences of the test and learn from their experience. The bell test had ended, but for Team 7, this was just the beginning of their journey as shinobi. Kakashi stood before them, his expression unreadable behind his mask. The air was thick with tension, the seriousness of his demeanor piercing the hopeful atmosphere Team 7 had clung to. You are just another group of genin who failed to secure a single bell, he began, his voice devoid of warmth. You've shown yourselves unworthy of the mantle of Team 7, unworthy to be shinobi of Konoha. One day, shinobi's names are etched on the memorial stone. Based on today's performance, you're far from ready for such an honor. What do you have to say for yourselves? The team's spirits sank, their brief surge of unity and accomplishment dissolving under Kakashi's stern critique. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with disappointment and self-doubt. It was Hinata who broke the silence, her voice soft but carrying a strength that surprised even her teammates. Kakashi-sensei, she began, stepping forward, we may not have gotten the bells, but we worked together, supported each other, and did everything we could. We faced this test as a team, and no matter what, that's what we are, a team. Her cheeks were tinged with a faint blush, not from embarrassment, but from the passion of her defense. Naruto, inspired by Hinata's bravery, jumped in with his signature enthusiasm, yeah, believe it. We're Team 7, and we'll face everything together. Kakashi observed them for a moment, his gaze sweeping over each of their determined faces. Is that all you have to say? He asked, the edge in his voice sharp as a kunai. The team exchanged glances, their nods conveying a unified front. They had said their piece, laid bare their conviction and their bond as a team. Then, Kakashi's posture shifted, a change so subtle it was almost missed. Well, he said, a hint of something new in his tone, it seems you've missed the point of the bell test entirely. It was never about the bells. The team looked at each other, confusion and curiosity mingling with their lingering disappointment. Kakashi continued, the true test was about teamwork, about putting the mission and each other above yourselves. And in that, you've exceeded my expectations. A small smile crept beneath his mask, the first genuine sign of warmth since the test began. Congratulations, Team 7. You've all passed. The words took a moment to register, but when they did, the relief and joy were palpable. Naruto let out a whoop of excitement, Hinata's eyes shone with a mixture of happiness and disbelief, and even Shikamaru, ever the stoic, allowed a small smile to grace his lips. Starting tomorrow, we begin training and missions as a team, Kakashi announced, turning on his heel. Be ready at dawn. And don't be late. As Kakashi disappeared with a swirl of leaves, Team 7 remained on the training ground, the weight of their new beginning settling around them. They had faced their first test and emerged stronger, not just as individuals, but as a unit bound by trust and a shared will to succeed. Today, they had learned the true meaning of being shinobi of Konoha, the importance of the will of fire, the belief in each other, and the unbreakable bonds that would guide them through the trials ahead. Team 7 was ready, their journey as shinobi truly beginning under the watchful eye of their enigmatic sensei, Kakashi Hatake. As the moon hung high over the Hidden Leaf Village, casting a serene glow through his window, Naruto sat on the edge of his bed, still buzzing with the day's events. The thrill of becoming a genin, the challenge of the bell test, and the bond formed with his new teammates left him with a sense of accomplishment and anticipation for the future. Taking a deep breath, Naruto focused on his gamer interface, scrolling through the notifications accumulated throughout the day. His eyes widened as he stumbled upon one he hadn't noticed earlier. Main quest complete. Become a genin, ***. Reward ***. Plus 50 reputation with Konoha. Plus 100 reputation with all members of Team 7. Plus 500 experience. Skill book acquired. Uzumaki Fuinjutsu ***. The realization of his achievements filled Naruto with pride. Not only had he successfully navigated the challenges set by Kakashi, but he had also earned significant recognition and a mysterious skill book. Without hesitation, Naruto tapped on the skill book icon, curious about its contents. As he did, the book dissolved into a stream of light, flowing into him. A flurry of notifications appeared. Skill book absorbed. Uzumaki Fuinjutsu, beginner 100/250 unlocked ***. Skill book absorbed. Increased Fuinjutsu experience, advanced 750/750, mastery 100/1000 ***. Naruto's eyes sparkled with excitement. Uzumaki Fuinjutsu, he thought, this must be some serious high-level stuff? The connection to his heritage, to the legacy of the Uzumaki clan, made this moment even more special. Before he could delve deeper into the significance of this new skill, another notification chimed, signaling a level up. Naruto tapped on the window, eager to see his progress. Level up. Naruto Uzumaki, level 14 ***. Grinning, Naruto allocated his new skill points, choosing to continue balancing his attributes. The significance of the day's events was not lost on him. He had not only progressed in his journey as a shinobi but had also taken a step closer to understanding and embracing his Uzumaki heritage. Lying back on his bed, Naruto stared at the ceiling, his mind abuzz with possibilities. The Uzumaki Fuinjutsu skill opened new avenues for him, promising more profound knowledge and power. The recognition from Konoha and his team filled him with a sense of belonging and responsibility. As sleep began to claim him, Naruto's last thought was a determination to live up to the legacy of his clan and to be a shinobi worthy of the title of Hokage. It had indeed been a big day, a day of triumphs and discoveries, a day that marked a new chapter in the life of Naruto Uzumaki, the shinobi gamer. The early morning sun cast a soft, golden glow over Training Ground 3, its rays filtering through the leaves of the surrounding trees. A gentle breeze carried the scent of dew-laden grass, and the distant chirping of birds heralded the start of a new day. In this serene setting, three young shinobi gathered, their faces a mix of anticipation and determination. Naruto Uzumaki, Shikamaru Nara, and Hinata Hyuga had arrived at the training ground around 9 a.m., an hour later than their appointed meeting time with their sensei, Kakashi Hatake. It was Shikamaru who had suggested this course of action, his keen mind having deciphered Kakashi's penchant for tardiness. "It's a drag, but we might as well use this time to train together," Shikamaru drawled, his hands tucked into his pockets. "We could do rotating sparring matches, first to 3 points wins and stays in. The odd one out can provide feedback and coaching." Naruto's blue eyes sparkled with excitement. "That's a great idea, Shikamaru. It's like our own mini-tournament." Hinata nodded, a small smile gracing her features. "It will help us improve our skills and teamwork." And so the sparring began. The clashing of kunai and the sound of rapid footsteps filled the air as the genin engaged in friendly combat. Shikamaru took an early lead, his tactical mind allowing him to score quick, precise hits. His shadow seemed to dance across the ground, a constant threat to his opponent's mobility. Unbeknownst to the team, Kakashi had arrived and was observing them from the branches of a nearby tree. His single visible eye crinkled in amusement as he watched his students' progress. "Shikamaru's strategic thinking is impressive," Kakashi mused silently. "He's able to anticipate his opponent's moves and counter them effectively." As the matches continued, Hinata's true potential began to shine. Her byakugan activated, she moved with fluid grace, her gentle fist strikes precise and powerful. Naruto, despite his determination, found himself on the defensive, his brow furrowed in concentration as he tried to find an opening. Hinata's byakugan gives her a significant advantage in close-quarters combat, Kakashi noted. And her gentle fist technique is quite advanced for her age. It was during a match between Naruto and Shikamaru that the tide began to turn. Naruto, his face streaked with sweat and dirt, managed to land a surprise hit on Shikamaru, his fist connecting with his friend's jaw. Shikamaru stumbled back, a look of shock quickly replaced by a rueful grin. "Nice one, Naruto," Shikamaru said, rubbing his jaw. "Didn't see that coming." Naruto's face split into a wide grin. "Thanks, Shikamaru. Your turn to coach now." As Naruto faced off against Hinata, his excitement was palpable. "I've been waiting for this, Hinata. Let's give it our all." Hinata, her cheeks slightly flushed, nodded. "I won't hold back, Naruto-kun." Their match was a dance of precision and power. Hinata's byakugan flashed as she launched a series of rapid strikes, her palms aglow with chakra. Naruto, his reflexes honed by countless hours of training, dodged and parried, his own strikes aimed at disrupting Hinata's balance. Naruto's growth is remarkable, Kakashi thought, a hint of pride in his inner voice. His determination and unpredictability make him a formidable opponent. As the minutes ticked by, Hinata's stamina began to wane. Naruto, sensing an opportunity, pressed his advantage. With a burst of speed, he managed to slip past Hinata's defenses, his open palm stopping just short of her chest. "Point, Naruto!" Shikamaru called from the sidelines. Hinata, panting slightly, smiled at Naruto. "Well done, Naruto-kun. Your speed has improved." Naruto rubbed the back of his head, a sheepish grin on his face. "Thanks, Hinata. You were amazing too. It was at this moment that Kakashi chose to reveal himself. Dropping from the tree, he landed silently behind his students, his hands tucked into his pockets. Good morning, team. Kakashi said cheerfully. It's good to see you've been so active. The genin whirled around, their eyes wide with surprise. Kakashi-sensei! Naruto exclaimed. You're late. Kakashi's eye crinkled in a smile. Well, you see, there was this old lady who needed help with her groceries, and… Shikamaru sighed, shaking his head. Save it, sensei. We figured you'd be late, so we decided to use the time productively. Kakashi chuckled, a hint of pride in his voice. I can see that. You've all shown remarkable initiative and teamwork. I'm impressed. The sun climbed higher in the sky as Team 7 gathered around their sensei, their faces flushed with exertion but their eyes bright with accomplishment. It was a small step, but a significant one, a testament to their growth not just as individual shinobi, but as a unit bound by trust and shared purpose. As Kakashi began to outline the day's training plan, his mind was already racing with the possibilities. This team, with their unique strengths and unwavering determination, held the potential to become something truly special. And he, Kakashi Hatake, had the privilege of guiding them on that journey. The breeze picked up, carrying with it the promise of challenges yet to come. But for now, in the golden light of a new day, Team 7 stood united, ready to face whatever the future held. Naruto glanced through the notifications that had popped up during their morning training, and saw that more than skill increases, the reputation with his team was climbing faster than ever, even with the mysterious Kakashi. The afternoon sun gleamed off the rooftops of Konoha as Team 7 assembled for their first official mission after breaking for lunch. Naruto bounced on his toes, his face split into a wide grin. All right. Our first mission as real ninja? I bet it's gonna be something awesome, like guarding a princess or infiltrating an enemy stronghold. Shikamaru sighed, hands shoved deep in his pockets. Don't get your hopes up, Naruto. We're genin. It's gonna be something lame and tedious, I guarantee it. Hinata fiddled with the hem of her jacket, a small smile on her lips. I'm just happy we get to work together as a team. Kakashi appeared in a puff of smoke, his one visible eye crinkled in amusement. Good morning, my little genin. Ready for your first glorious mission in service of Konoha? Naruto pumped a fist in the air. You know it, Kakashi-sensei. Lay it on us. Kakashi pulled out a scroll, unrolling it with deliberate slowness. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is… He paused for dramatic effect. Tracking down and retrieving the daimyo's wife's runaway cats. Naruto's jaw dropped. A cats? We're chasing cats? What kind of lame mission is that? Shikamaru smirked. I called it. Hinata patted Naruto's shoulder. It's still an important mission, Naruto-kun. Those cats are precious to the daimyo's wife. Kakashi rolled up the scroll with a snap. Hinata's right. Every mission is vital to the village, no matter how small. Now, let's see those tracking skills in action. They set out into the village, eyes peeled for any sign of feline fugitives. Naruto grumbled under his breath, but soon perked up as an idea struck him. He brought his hands together in a sign. A shadow clone jutsu. A dozen Narutos popped into existence, scattering in all directions. The original grinned. We'll find those furry little escape artists in no time. Shikamaru shook his head, but there was a glint of approval in his eyes. Not a bad strategy. Hinata, can you use your byakugan to scan the area? Hinata nodded, veins bulging around her eyes as she activated her dojutsu. I see one. It's hiding under a porch about 50 meters that way. She pointed down a side street. I'm on it. Naruto took off at a sprint, his clones fanning out around him. As he ran, a chime sounded in his head and a translucent window appeared in his peripheral vision. Skill leveled up. Tracking, beginner 50/250. Your tracking skills have improved. Naruto grinned. Having his gamer abilities sure made training a lot more efficient. He skidded around the corner just in time to see an orange tail disappearing under the porch. Yo, no you don't. He dove for it, only to faceplant into the dirt as the cat slipped through his fingers. Get back here, you little monster. Shikamaru ambled up, hands still in his pockets. You'll never catch it like that. We need to corner it, cut off its escape routes. Naruto sat up, spitting out dirt. Okay, genius, what's the plan? Shikamaru surveyed the area with a calculating eye. Hinata, keep an eye on the cat. Naruto, send your clones to block off the alley exits. I'll herd it with my shadow. They moved into position, Naruto's clones blocking the exits while Hinata tracked the cat's movements. Shikamaru crouched, his shadow snaking across the ground and under the porch. There was a yowl and a hiss, then an orange blur shot out, straight into a Naruto clone's arms. I gotcha. The clone grinned as the cat struggled and spat. One down, who knows how many to go. It turned out to be a long day of chasing down recalcitrant felines all over Konoha. There were cats in trees, cats on roofs, cats in trash cans. Naruto got scratched, bitten, and peed on, much to his vociferous displeasure and his teammates' poorly hidden amusement. But with each capture, his tracking skill ticked up, the cartoon cats in the corner of his vision slowly filling up with color. By the time they returned the last yowling captive to the daimyo's wife, who cooed over the ill-tempered beast as if it were a precious baby, Naruto was scuffed, smelly, and exhausted. But there was a sense of satisfaction too. They had completed their mission, no matter how ridiculous, and they had done it by working together. As they walked back to the village center to report in, Naruto slung an arm around Shikamaru and Hinata's shoulders, ignoring the former's grunt of protest. You know, as far as first missions go, that wasn't so bad. I mean, sure, it was lame and my everything hurts, but we make a pretty good team, don't you think? Hinata blushed but leaned into the half-embrace. I think so too, Naruto-kun. Shikamaru shrugged, but there was a hint of a smile on his lips. Yeah, I guess we do. Even if our fearless leader spent half the day getting his butt kicked by house cats. Hey! Naruto aimed a swat at Shikamaru's head, which he dodged with a chuckle. I'd like to see you do better, lazy bones. Kakashi, strolling along behind them with his nose in his ever-present book, I smiled at their banter. Cats notwithstanding, he had a feeling this team was going to do just fine. The forest clearing echoed with the sound of splintering bark and frustrated grunts as Team 7 grappled with their latest challenge. Kakashi Hatake stood at the base of a towering oak, his visible eye crinkled in amusement as he watched his students attempt to master the tree-walking exercise. Remember, Kakashi's voice carried a hint of lazy amusement, focus your chakra to the soles of your feet. Too little and you'll slip off. Too much and you'll blast the bark right off the tree. Naruto gritted his teeth, his face scrunched in concentration. He took a running start at the nearest tree, channeling chakra to his feet. For a brief moment, he felt the exhilarating sensation of defying gravity. Then, with a yelp, he tumbled back to the ground, leaving a small crater where his foot had impacted the trunk. Ow ow ow. Naruto rubbed his sore backside, glaring at the tree as if it had personally offended him. This is impossible. Nearby, Hinata gracefully ascended her chosen tree, her movements fluid and controlled. She paused halfway up, turning to observe her teammates with a mixture of concern and encouragement. Dien Naruto-kun, maybe try visualizing your chakra as a gentle stream? Shikamaru, meanwhile, had managed to walk a few steps up his tree before settling into a comfortable position, lounging horizontally on the trunk as if it were the most natural thing in the world. What a drag, he muttered, but his eyes were sharp, analyzing every attempt of his teammates. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at Shikamaru's lackadaisical approach. Impressive chakra control, Shikamaru. But the point is to reach the top, not take a nap halfway up. Naruto jumped to his feet, determination blazing in his eyes. I won't lose to you guys. I'll master this, believe it. He charged at the tree again, only to be sent flying back once more. As Naruto picked himself up, a notification appeared in his vision. Skill, chakra control has increased. Current level, beginner 300 out of 500. Despite the progress, Naruto's frustration was palpable. Shikamaru, observing his friend's struggle, sighed and called out, Ioi, Naruto. Why don't you use your shadow clones? You could get more practice in less time. Naruto's eyes widened, a grin spreading across his face. Shikamaru, you're a genius. His hands flew through the familiar seals. A shadow clone jutsu? In a puff of smoke, a dozen Narutos appeared, each wearing the same determined expression. They spread out, each taking a tree, and began their attempts anew. Kakashi watched with interest, his book forgotten for the moment. A clever use of the shadow clone jutsu, Naruto. Let's see if it pays off. As the clearing filled with the sounds of multiple Narutos running, falling, and occasionally making progress, Hinata continued her steady ascent. She reached the top of her tree and perched on a high branch, her cheeks flushed with exertion and a sense of accomplishment. Excellent work, Hinata, Kakashi called up. Your chakra control is exceptional. Hinata's face reddened further at the praise. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei. It's similar to some Hyuga techniques. Hours passed, the sun arcing across the sky as Team 7 persevered. Naruto's clones popped in and out of existence, each failure and small success adding to his understanding. Shikamaru, despite his apparent laziness, had made his way to the top of his tree, offering occasional insights to his teammates. As the day wore on, Naruto felt a shift in his understanding. The chakra that had once felt wild and uncontrollable began to respond to his will with greater precision. With a whoop of joy, he made it halfway up his tree before losing control. I did it! Did you see that, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto shouted, his face split in a wide grin. Kakashi nodded approvingly. Much better, Naruto. Your progress is impressive. Another notification appeared. Skill, chakra control has increased. Current level, intermediate 50 of 500. Reputation with Kakashi Hatake has increased. Current standing, impressed 65 out of 100. The sun was setting, painting the clearing in hues of orange and gold, when Kakashi finally called an end to the day's training. Naruto, covered in scrapes and bruises but beaming with pride, joined his teammates at the edge of the clearing. A good work today, all of you, Kakashi said, his eyes sweeping over his exhausted but satisfied students. We'll continue this tomorrow. Naruto, your use of shadow clones was innovative. Hinata, your control is exemplary. And Shikamaru. He paused, fixing the Nara with a pointed look. Try to stay awake for the entire session next time. As Team 7 made their way back to the village, a comfortable camaraderie settled over them. Naruto chattered excitedly about his progress, Hinata offered quiet words of encouragement, and Shikamaru grumbled good-naturedly about the troublesome nature of training. Naruto felt a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with physical exertion. He was improving, yes, but more than that, he was part of a team. As they walked, another notification appeared. Relationship with Team 7 has deepened. Current bond, budding friendship 70 out of 100. With a smile, Naruto looked forward to the challenges tomorrow would bring, confident that with his teammates by his side, there was nothing they couldn't overcome. The morning dew still clung to the leaves as Team 7 assembled by the banks of the Konoha River. Naruto stifled a yawn, the early hour evident in the sleepy expressions of his teammates. Kakashi, ever punctual in his tardiness, sauntered up with a lazy wave. Good morning, team, he greeted, his visible eye crinkling in a smile. Today's mission, clean up the river. It seems some careless folks have been dumping their waste here. Our job is to make it shine. Naruto's nose wrinkled as he surveyed the murky water, dotted with floating debris. Ugh, it reeks. Who throws their trash in the river? Shikamaru, hands in his pockets, sighed. Troublesome. But I suppose someone has to do it. Hinata activated her byakugan, her enhanced vision piercing the river's depths. I can see a lot of debris on the riverbed too. This might take a while. An idea sparked in Naruto's mind. Hey, Kakashi-sensei. What if I use my shadow clones? We could cover more ground that way. Kakashi nodded approvingly. Good thinking, Naruto. Divide and conquer. With a grin, Naruto formed the familiar hand sign. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. In puffs of smoke, a dozen Narutos appeared, each grabbing a trash bag. Shikamaru's brow furrowed in thought. We could make this more efficient. Naruto, have your clones work in a grid pattern. Hinata, your byakugan can guide us to the most concentrated areas of pollution. I'll coordinate our efforts. Hinata gave a determined nod. I can use my gentle fist to precisely remove the smaller debris. As the team set to work, Shikamaru had another idea. Let's use our chakra to stick to the riverbed. It'll make collecting the trash easier and double as chakra control training. Naruto's clones plunged into the river, their feet adhering to the bottom as Shikamaru instructed. At first, a few clones lost their footing, splashing and spluttering. But with each slip, Naruto could feel his chakra control improving. Notification type equals skill_unlock, new skill acquired, water walking, beginner 50/1000/notification. The notification in Naruto's interface made him whoop with excitement. Guys, look! I unlocked the water walking skill. As the day wore on, the river began to transform. Bags filled with refuse lined the banks as Team 7 worked in synchronized harmony. Naruto's clones scoured the length of the river, Shikamaru's strategic directions maximizing their efficiency. Hinata darted from one spot to another, her precise chakra-infused touches dislodging even the most stubborn grime. Skill level up, teamwork, beginner 175/250. Skill level up, shadow clone jutsu 250/1000. By sunset, the river flowed clear once more, its surface reflecting the vibrant hues of the sky. Team 7, exhausted but satisfied, gathered on the bank. Kakashi surveyed their work with an approving eye. Well done, team. You not only completed the mission but also strengthened your skills and teamwork. This is what being a shinobi is all about. As they trudged back to the village, Naruto couldn't stop grinning. With his team by his side, even the most mundane tasks became opportunities for growth and bonding. The future looked bright indeed. The evening breeze carried the mouth-watering aroma of simmering broth and grilled meats through the streets of Konoha. As Team 7 approached Ichiraku Ramen, the warm glow of lanterns spilled onto the path, casting long shadows that danced in the fading light. Naruto's stomach growled audibly, earning a chuckle from Shikamaru and a soft giggle from Hinata. Eager as always, Naruto? Kakashi's eye crinkled with amusement as he lifted the shop's curtain, ushering his students inside. The small ramen stand buzzed with activity. Steam billowed from massive pots, and the rhythmic chopping of vegetables provided a culinary soundtrack. Tucci, the owner, greeted them with a wide smile. Ah, if it isn't my favorite customer and his team. What'll it be tonight? Naruto's eyes sparkled as he took in the familiar sights and smells. One miso chashu pork ramen, extra large, he exclaimed, practically bouncing on his stool. Skill, ramen appreciation has increased. Current level, mastery 999 of 1000. Hinata quietly ordered a shoyu ramen, while Shikamaru opted for a simple salt ramen, muttering something about it being the less troublesome. Kakashi, to everyone's surprise, actually removed his mask to eat, revealing another mask underneath. As steaming bowls were placed before them, Kakashi cleared his throat. Well, team, we've had quite the week. I thought this would be a good opportunity to reflect on our progress and any concerns you might have. Naruto slurped up a mouthful of noodles before responding. I've gotta say, Kakashi-sensei, your training methods are tough but effective. I feel like I've learned more this week than in my entire time at the academy. Reputation with Kakashi Hatake has increased. Current standing, impressed 70 out of 100. Shikamaru nodded, his usual lazy demeanor softening. It's been not as troublesome as I expected. Your strategies are intriguing, Kakashi-sensei. I've found myself actually looking forward to our training sessions. Hinata, her cheeks slightly flushed, spoke up. Dai. I feel like I'm becoming stronger, both physically and mentally. Thank you for pushing us, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi's visible eye softened at his student's words. I'm glad to hear it. You've all shown remarkable growth. He paused, stirring his ramen thoughtfully. You know, when I was first assigned to be your sensei, I had my doubts. But you've proven me wrong at every turn. The genin exchanged surprised glances. It wasn't often that Kakashi opened up like this. When I was your age, Kakashi continued, his voice taking on a distant quality, I was different. Rigid, focused solely on rules and regulations. It took losing someone very important to me to realize the value of teamwork and bonds. Naruto leaned forward, ramen momentarily forgotten. Who was it, Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi's eye clouded with an old pain. His name was Obito Uchiha. My teammate and eventually my friend. He taught me that those who abandon their comrades are worse than scum. He looked at each of his students in turn. I see a bit of him in each of you. The will to never give up, the analytical mind, the quiet strength. The atmosphere in the small ramen stand had shifted, becoming charged with emotion. Even Tucci and I am, usually bustling about, had paused to listen. Shikamaru broke the silence. Is that why you emphasize teamwork so much? Kakashi nodded. Precisely. Individual skill is important, but it's the bonds between comrades that truly make a team strong. Naruto's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. Kakashi-sensei, thank you for sharing that with us. We won't let you down. Reputation with Team 7 has significantly increased. Current standing, trusted mentor, 85 out of 100. Hinata smiled softly. We'll always be there for each other, no matter what. Yeah, Shikamaru agreed, a rare smile on his face. It might be troublesome, but that's what teammates are for. As they finished their meal, the conversation drifted to lighter topics. Laughter filled the air, punctuated by the clink of chopsticks and the slurping of noodles. The bonds of Team 7 had been forged in training and missions, but it was moments like these, sharing a meal, sharing stories, that truly cemented them. As they said their goodbyes and stepped out into the cool night air, Naruto felt a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with the ramen. He looked at his teammates, at Kakashi, and knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. New skill acquired, empathetic understanding. Current level, beginner 25 out of 250. Teamwork skill has increased. Current level, intermediate 275 of 500. Naruto grinned to himself. The path to becoming Hokage was long, but with friends like these by his side, he knew he could overcome any obstacle. The early morning mist clung to the surface of the lake, creating an ethereal atmosphere as Team 7 gathered at its shore. The water's surface rippled gently, disturbed only by the occasional leap of a fish or the landing of a water strider. Kakashi stood before his three students, his visible eye scanning their eager faces. Today, we're taking your chakra control to the next level, Kakashi announced, his tone casual but tinged with an underlying seriousness. You've mastered walking up trees. Now, it's time to walk on water. Naruto's eyes lit up with excitement. He had already unlocked the skill, but the prospect of honing it further sent a thrill through him. Hinata nodded determinedly, her pale eyes focused on the lake's surface. Shikamaru, despite his usual lackadaisical demeanor, showed a spark of interest. Kakashi stepped onto the water's surface, his feet barely causing a ripple. The key is to constantly adjust your chakra output to match the water's ever-changing surface. Too little and you sink. Too much and you'll blast yourself into the air. He gestured for them to try. Hinata stepped forward first, her movements graceful and measured. She placed one foot on the water, then the other, wobbling slightly but maintaining her balance. Excellent control, Hinata, Kakashi praised. Now try walking further out. Shikamaru went next, his brow furrowed in concentration. He managed a few steps before losing his balance and plunging into the water with a yelp. Naruto, brimming with confidence, strode onto the water's surface. To everyone's surprise, including his own, he walked several paces without faltering. Kakashi's visible eye widened slightly. Oh well, Naruto. It seems you have a knack for this. Naruto grinned, rubbing the back of his head. I guess all the tree climbing practice paid off, Kakashi-sensei? As they continued practicing, Kakashi moved between his students, offering personalized advice. To Hinata, try to feel the water's movement with your chakra, not just your feet. To Shikamaru, imagine your chakra as a cushion, constantly reshaping itself. To Naruto, don't get overconfident. The deeper the water, the more challenging it becomes. Throughout the day, Naruto felt his control improving rapidly. Notifications popped up in his vision. Skill, water walking has increased. Current level, beginner 150 out of 250. Skill, chakra control has increased. Current level, intermediate 200 of 500. Reputation with Kakashi Hatake has increased. Current standing, intrigued 75 out of 100. As the sun began to set, painting the lake's surface in hues of orange and pink, Kakashi called for a final exercise. Let's see how long each of you can maintain your position while I create some disturbances. With a series of hand signs, Kakashi summoned small waves that lapped at their feet, gradually increasing in intensity. Hinata gracefully rode the waves, her movements fluid and precise. Shikamaru, after initial struggles, found a rhythm, his analytical mind quickly adapting to the pattern of the waves. Naruto, driven by his natural determination and boosted by his gamer ability, stood firm against the increasingly choppy water. His face was a mask of concentration, blue eyes narrowed in focus. Kakashi observed his students with a mix of pride and growing curiosity, particularly regarding Naruto's rapid progress. As the exercise concluded, he dismissed the team with a nod of approval. Well done, all of you. Tomorrow we'll build on this. Be prepared for some unconventional training methods. As the team dispersed, Kakashi's gaze lingered on Naruto's retreating form. His covered eye narrowed imperceptibly, a flicker of suspicion crossing his mind. Naruto's growth, it's remarkable, but almost unnaturally swift. There's more to this than meets the eye, he mused, resolving to pay even closer attention to his enigmatic student in the days to come. The bright morning sun peeked through the windows of the Konoha Cryptanalysis Division, casting a warm glow on the stacks of scrolls and papers that littered the desks. The scent of ink and parchment hung in the air, a testament to the relentless work of decoding the village's secrets. It was into this scene that Team 7 entered, ready to tackle their latest D-rank mission. Kakashi led his young charges through the maze of desks, his singular visible eye crinkling with a hidden smile. Today, he announced, we're going to put your mental prowess to the test. Naruto's bright blue eyes widened with excitement, his fingers twitching with anticipation. The test? Like a battle of wits? Bring it on. Shikamaru, ever the strategist, merely raised an eyebrow? Troublesome, he muttered, but there was a glint of intrigue in his eyes. Hinata, quiet but determined, activated her byakugan, ready to see through any deception. Your task, Kakashi continued, gesturing to the piles of scrolls, is to help decode these ciphers. Each one holds a piece of vital information for the village. New quest, cryptic conundrums. Objectives: decode the ciphers and uncover the hidden messages. Prove your mental acuity and teamwork. Rewards: 500 XP. Increased intelligence. Improved reputation with Konoha Cryptanalysis Division. Naruto's eyes lit up as he read the quest notification. Alright team. Let's crack these codes and show him what we've got. They split the scrolls between them, each taking a stack to their chosen workspace. Naruto unfurled his first scroll, squinting at the seemingly random jumble of letters and symbols. He scratched his head, his brow furrowed in concentration. Skill, puzzle solving has been created. Current level, beginner 1 out of 250. With a grin, Naruto dove into the challenge, his pencil flying across the paper as he worked to decipher the code. Shikamaru, meanwhile, leaned back in his chair, his eyes closed in contemplation. The ciphers danced in his mind's eye, patterns emerging from the chaos. With a sudden spark of insight, he sat forward, his hand blurring as he jotted down the solutions. Skill, cryptanalysis has been created. Current level, beginner 50 out of 250. Hinata, her byakugan active, scanned the scrolls intently. Her keen eyes picked out the subtle differences in the ink, the nearly invisible marks that hinted at the true message. With a small smile, she began to decode her pile, her precise strokes revealing the hidden words. Skill, perception has increased. Current level, intermediate 525 of 500. Skill, perception evolves to advanced 1 of 750. As the morning wore on, the team fell into a rhythm, the scratching of pencils and the rustling of scrolls the only sounds in the room. Kakashi watched from the sidelines, his masked face hiding a proud smile. Gaha! Naruto exclaimed, holding up a scroll triumphantly. I've got it. The message is the rooster crows at midnight. Shikamaru smirked. That's a code phrase, Naruto. It means there's a meeting at the specified time and place. Naruto's face reddened slightly, but he grinned. I knew that. I was just testing you. Hinata giggled softly, her pale eyes shining with amusement and affection. As the day drew to a close, the team had successfully decoded all the scrolls, revealing a web of information vital to the village's security. They presented their findings to the grateful Cryptanalysis Division, who praised their skills and dedication. Quest: Cryptic Conundrums completed. Rewards: 500 XP. Intelligence increased by 1. Reputation with Konoha Cryptanalysis Division increased by 100. As they left the building, Kakashi placed a hand on each of their shoulders. Well done, team. You've proven that your minds are as sharp as your kunai. Naruto beamed, his heart swelling with pride and accomplishment. Shikamaru allowed a small, satisfied smile, while Hinata ducked her head, a pleased blush coloring her cheeks. They walked into the fading sunlight, the bonds of their team strengthened by the shared challenge. In the face of ciphers and codes, they had found not just solutions, but a deeper understanding of each other's strengths and a renewed appreciation for the power of the mind in the life of a shinobi. The morning dew clung to the grass of Training Ground 3 as Team 7 assembled, the crisp air carrying a hint of the day's impending heat. Kakashi stood before his students, his posture relaxed but his visible eye sharp and assessing. Today, he began, his voice cutting through the morning stillness, we focus on taijutsu. The foundation of a shinobi's arsenal. Naruto bounced on the balls of his feet, his usual exuberance tempered by a newfound focus. Shikamaru stood to his right, hands in pockets, his stance lazy but his eyes alert. Hinata, to Naruto's left, stood poised, her byakugan active and ready. We'll begin with sparring, Kakashi instructed. Naruto, you're with Hinata. Shikamaru with me. The goal isn't to win, but to learn, to adapt, to cover each other's weaknesses. Naruto grinned at Hinata, dropping into a ready stance. Let's do this, Hinata. Don't hold back. Hinata nodded, a small smile on her lips. I won't, Naruto-kun. Let's both do our best. They clashed in a flurry of strikes and blocks, Naruto's raw power and unpredictability against Hinata's precision and fluid grace. Naruto's gamer ability activated. Skill: Basic Taijutsu has increased. Current level: Intermediate 100 of 500. Across the field, Shikamaru engaged Kakashi, his analytical mind working to find patterns and openings in his sensei's defenses. Kakashi countered each attempt, his movements efficient and devastating, always a step ahead. I anticipate, Shikamaru, Kakashi advised, deflecting a series of strikes. Read your opponent. Find the gaps in their strategy. Sweat beaded on Naruto's brow as he and Hinata continued their dance, each learning from the other. Hinata's byakugan allowed her to see Naruto's chakra pathways, to target pressure points with pinpoint accuracy. Naruto's resilience and stamina kept him in the fight, always pushing forward. Skill: Basic Taijutsu has increased. Current level: Intermediate 150 of 500. Good, Naruto, Hinata panted, backflipping away from a sweeping kick. You're getting faster, more precise. Naruto grinned, wiping sweat from his eyes. You're amazing, Hinata. I can barely keep up. As the sun climbed higher, Kakashi called for a change. Switch partners. Naruto with Shikamaru. Hinata with me. The new pairings brought fresh challenges. Shikamaru's strategic mind tested Naruto's adaptability, forcing him to think on his feet. Hinata's gentle fist met Kakashi's seasoned skills, each exchange a learning experience. Skill: Basic Taijutsu has increased. Current level: Intermediate 200 of 500. The day wore on, each member of Team 7 pushing their limits, honing their craft under the unrelenting Konoha sun. Bruises formed, sweat soaked their clothes, but their determination never wavered. As the training drew to a close, Kakashi called them together. You've all done well today. You've learned from each other, covered for each other. That's what being a team is about. Naruto, his jumpsuit dusty and torn, grinned at his teammates. We're getting stronger every day. Believe it. Shikamaru, his usually neat ponytail askew, managed a tired smile. Troublesome, but worth it. Hinata, her face flushed but her eyes bright, nodded in agreement. We'll keep getting better together. Kakashi I smiled at his students, pride evident in his gaze. A rest up? Tomorrow we apply what we've learned on a mission. As the team dispersed, each nursing sore muscles but satisfied with their progress, Naruto's gamer interface chimed one last time. Reputation with Team 7 has increased. Current standing. Kakashi Hatake, impressed 70 out of 100. Shikamaru Nara, trusted ally, 80 out of 100. Hinata Hyuga, close friend, 85 out of 100. Naruto smiled to himself, knowing that with each day, each challenge faced together, Team 7 was growing not just in strength, but in the unbreakable bonds of camaraderie and trust. The will of fire burned brightly in each of them, forging them into the shinobi they were meant to be. The morning sun cast long shadows across Training Ground 8 as Team 7 assembled for their latest D-rank mission. The air was crisp, carrying the earthy scent of the surrounding forest. Kakashi stood before his students, his posture relaxed but his visible eye alert. Today's mission, Kakashi began, his voice carrying a hint of amusement, is to clear this training ground of all non-lethal traps. It seems some overzealous genin got a bit carried away with their trap-making practice. Naruto's eyes lit up at the mention of traps. His mind raced with the possibilities, his fingers twitching with anticipation. Beside him, Hinata activated her byakugan, the veins around her eyes bulging as she scanned the area. Shikamaru, hands in his pockets, surveyed the field with a calculating gaze. Naruto, Shikamaru said, his voice low and thoughtful, your trap-making experience could be useful here. You might be able to spot patterns or signs of traps that we'd miss. Naruto grinned, his chest swelling with pride. You got it, Shikamaru. I'll put my skills to good use, believe it. Trap detection skill activated. Current level, beginner 75 out of 250. As they stepped into the training ground, Hinata's byakugan proved invaluable. She pointed out the locations of hidden traps, her soft voice guiding her teammates. There's a tripwire 20 meters ahead, slightly to the left, she said, her brow furrowed in concentration. And a pressure plate hidden under the leaves, 5 meters to the right. Naruto and Shikamaru nodded, their trust in Hinata's sight absolute. They moved carefully, Naruto taking the lead to disarm the traps Hinata identified. His hands moved with surprising delicacy, his experience with trap-making guiding his actions. Steady now, Naruto murmured as he worked on a particularly complex trap. Sweat beaded on his forehead, his focus intense. With a final, careful snip, the trap was disarmed. Trap disarmament successful. Trap-making skill increased. Current level, intermediate 25 of 500. As they progressed, Shikamaru's strategic mind came into play. He devised patterns of movement to minimize risk, his shadows stretching out to probe for hidden dangers. If we alternate our path, zigzagging between the trees, he suggested, we can cover more ground while reducing our chances of triggering any traps. Kakashi watched his students work, a glimmer of pride in his eye. Their teamwork was seamless, each member's strengths complementing the others. Naruto's trap-making knowledge, Hinata's byakugan, and Shikamaru's strategic thinking formed a formidable combination. As the sun climbed higher, the team made steady progress. The piles of disarmed traps grew, a testament to their hard work and skill. During a brief rest, Naruto wiped his brow, a wide grin on his face. We make a pretty awesome team, don't we? He said, his voice filled with genuine warmth. I couldn't do this without you guys. Hinata blushed, a small smile gracing her lips. We all have our roles to play, Naruto-kun. That's what being a team is about. Shikamaru nodded, a rare smile on his usually stoic face. Gets a drag, but I guess we do work well together. As they returned to their task, Kakashi couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. This was more than just a simple D-rank mission. It was a testament to the growth and unity of Team 7, a glimpse of the potential they held. Mission complete. Team 7's synergy increased. Reputation with Konoha Village increased by 50 points. As the last trap was disarmed and the training ground declared clear, Naruto, Hinata, and Shikamaru stood together, dirt-smudged but proud. They had faced this challenge as a team and emerged stronger for it. Under the watchful eye of Kakashi, Team 7 left the training ground, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They were more than just teammates now. They were friends, united by the bonds of shared experience and the will to grow together. After just a couple short weeks of training and D-rank missions/quests, Naruto found himself staring at his stats screen proudly, having gained a level in such a short time. Current stats. Naruto Uzumaki level 15, plus 1 level from accumulated experience. Base attributes. Strength, 25, plus 1 from level up. Dexterity, 23, plus 1 from level up. Constitution, 32, plus 1 from level up. Intelligence, 23 unchanged. Wisdom, 22, plus 1 from level up. Charisma, 15 unchanged. Luck, 23 unchanged. Derived stats. Health points HP 480, increased due to level up and constitution increase. Health regeneration HR 55.8 HP/hour, increased due to level up and constitution increase. Chakra capacity CP 2280, increased due to attribute improvements. Chakra control CC 79, increased due to wisdom improvement. Skills. Perception, advanced 1/750, evolved from intermediate. Basic taijutsu, intermediate 200/500, significant increase. Basic ninjutsu, intermediate 100/500, unchanged. Basic bukujutsu, beginner 250/250, unchanged. Basic fuinjutsu, mastery 100/1000, unchanged. Gardening, intermediate 115/500, unchanged. Tracking, beginner 250/250, unchanged. Knowledge history, basic 200/250, unchanged. Knowledge geography, basic 150/250, unchanged. Knowledge chakra theory, basic 100/250, unchanged. Cooking, beginner, unchanged. Trap making, intermediate 25/500, increased from beginner. Water walking, beginner 150/250, new skill. Puzzle solving, beginner 1/250, new skill. Cryptanalysis, beginner 50/250, new skill. Chakra control, intermediate 200/500, significant increase. Jutsu. Shadow clone jutsu 250/1000, increased. Shadow shuriken jutsu 100/1000, unchanged. Mutually multiplying explosive tags 100/1000, unchanged. Substitution jutsu 350/1000, unchanged. Transformation jutsu 250/1000, unchanged. Relationships and reputation Team 7. Kakashi Hatake, Jonin Sensei impressed, 75/100, increased. Shikamaru Nara, trusted ally, 80 out of 100, increased. Hinata Hyuga, close friend, 85 out of 100, increased. Konoha Village. General reputation, improved, increased by 50 points from trap clearing mission. Konoha Cryptanalysis Division, increased by 100 points. Notable developments. Mastered tree walking exercise and made significant progress in water walking. Improved chakra control through intense training sessions. Successfully completed various D-rank missions showcasing teamwork and problem-solving skills. Developed new skills in cryptanalysis and puzzle solving. Strengthened bonds with Team 7 members through shared experiences and challenges. Gained deeper insight into Kakashi's past and the importance of teamwork. Demonstrated leadership and strategic thinking during missions and training. The first rays of the morning sun crept through the curtains of Naruto's apartment, casting a soft golden glow across his miniature jungle of potted plants. The air was thick with the earthy scent of healthy soil and the delicate perfume of blooming flowers. Naruto stirred from his slumber, his eyes blinking open to the sight of his thriving green companions. He sat up, stretching his arms above his head, feeling the satisfying pop of his joints. With a yawn, he swung his legs over the side of the bed, his bare feet sinking into the plush carpet. He patted over to his plants, a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Skill, gardening has increased. Current level, intermediate 150 of 500. His fingers brushed over the glossy leaves of his prized ficus, checking for any signs of distress. Finding none, he moved on to his other plants, watering and pruning with the practiced ease of someone who had found joy in nurturing life. As he tended to his plants, Naruto's mind wandered to the day ahead. Team 7 had been making great strides in their training over the past 2 weeks, and he was eager to see what new challenges Kakashi-sensei would throw their way. With his plans cared for, Naruto made his way to the kitchen, his stomach grumbling in anticipation of breakfast. He pulled out a pan and a few eggs, cracking them with a deft flick of his wrist. Skill: cooking has increased. Current level: beginner 225 out of 250. The sizzle of the eggs filled the small kitchen, mingling with the aroma of brewing coffee. Naruto hummed a cheerful tune as he cooked, his movements fluid and practiced. Gone were the days of burnt toast and undercooked rice. Naruto Uzumaki was becoming quite the chef. He plated his breakfast with a flourish, the perfectly cooked eggs nestled alongside crispy bacon and golden brown toast. He sat at his small table, savoring each bite, his mind already racing with the possibilities of the day. After cleaning up, Naruto donned his signature orange jumpsuit, tying his hinata securely around his forehead. With a final glance around his apartment, he stepped out into the bright morning sun, ready to meet his team. The training ground was already abuzz with activity when Naruto arrived. Shikamaru sat beneath a tree, his eyes closed in meditation, while Hinata flowed through the graceful stances of her gentle fist kata. "Morning, guys," Naruto called out, waving enthusiastically. Shikamaru cracked one eye open, a lazy smile on his face. "You're awfully chipper this morning, Naruto. What's got you so excited?" Naruto grinned, bouncing on the balls of his feet. "Just ready to get started, that's all. I've been working on a new taijutsu combo, and I can't wait to try it out." Hinata paused in her kata, a soft smile on her face. "That's great, Naruto-kun. I'm sure it will be impressive." Naruto rubbed the back of his neck, a light blush dusting his cheeks. "Thanks, Hinata. I bet you've got some new moves too, huh?" Hinata's smile widened, a glint of excitement in her pale eyes. "Perhaps. Shall we spar and find out?" Naruto's grin turned feral. "You're on." They took their positions on the training ground, Hinata sliding into her gentle fist stance while Naruto settled into his own, a blend of the academy style and his own unpredictable flair. They clashed in a flurry of strikes and blocks, their feet dancing across the grass. Hinata's palms glowed with chakra, seeking to close Naruto's tenketsu, while Naruto bobbed and weaved, his speed and agility keeping him just out of reach. Their spar carried them across the training ground, up the trunks of trees and across the surface of the nearby stream. Naruto's chakra control had improved drastically, allowing him to maintain his footing on the vertical surfaces and the shifting waters. Skill: chakra control has increased. Current level: intermediate 275 of 500. Skill: water walking has increased. Current level: beginner 225 out of 250. Shikamaru watched from his spot beneath the tree, his keen eyes analyzing every move. He called out occasional pieces of advice, his strategic mind always working. "Naruto, watch your left side. Hinata, try feinting high then striking low." The spar ended in a draw, both Naruto and Hinata panting and grinning. They clasped hands, a gesture of respect and camaraderie. "That was awesome, Hinata," Naruto exclaimed, his blue eyes bright. "You almost had me a couple times there." Hinata ducked her head, a pleased blush on her cheeks. "You were amazing too, Naruto-kun. Your speed has really improved. Reputation with Hinata Hyuga has increased. Current standing, close friend 90 out of 100. Shikamaru stood, dusting off his pants. "Alright, my turn. Let's see if you can keep up, Naruto." Naruto's grin turned challenging. "Bring it on, Shikamaru." Their spar was a game of strategy and misdirection, Shikamaru's shadows chasing Naruto's clones across the field. Naruto had to think on his feet, using his clones to misdirect and distract while he sought an opening. It was during a particularly daring maneuver, Naruto leaping over Shikamaru's head to avoid a shadow tendril, that Kakashi appeared in a swirl of leaves. "Yo," he greeted, one hand raised in a lazy wave. "Sorry I'm late, I got lost on the road of life." Naruto and Shikamaru paused mid-spar, Naruto hanging upside down from a tree branch while Shikamaru's shadow stretched towards him. "Gliar!" Naruto yelled, pointing an accusing finger at his sensei. Kakashi's visible eye crinkled in a smile. So disrespectful. And here I was going to tell you about our exciting mission for today." Naruto flipped down from the tree, his eyes wide. "Mission? What kind of mission?" Kakashi's smile turned mysterious beneath his mask. Well, you'll just have to come to the mission assignment desk and find out, won't you? Meet me there in 10 minutes. With that, he vanished in another swirl of leaves, leaving Team 7 to exchange curious and excited looks. What do you think it could be? Hinata wondered, her brow furrowed. Knowing our luck, probably another D rank, Ishikamaru sighed, but there was a glint of anticipation in his eyes. Naruto pumped his fist in the air. Who cares? A mission's a mission. Let's go! With that, Team 7 set off towards the heart of the village, ready to face whatever challenges their sensei had in store for them. The morning sun shone brightly overhead, a promise of adventure on the horizon. The mission assignment desk was a hive of activity, with various shinobi teams coming and going, receiving their missions from the harried-looking chunin behind the desk. The walls were lined with shelves overflowing with scrolls, each containing the details of potential missions. The air was filled with the murmur of voices, the rustling of paper, and the occasional burst of laughter or groan of disappointment. Team 7 entered the room, Naruto in the lead with Shikamaru and Hinata flanking him. Kakashi brought up the rear, his nose buried in his ever-present Ika book. At the desk sat the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, his weathered face creased in a kindly smile as he puffed on his pipe. Beside him sat Irika, his former teacher, who greeted them with a warm smile. Team 7, Hiruzen said, his voice a gravelly rumble. Here for your next mission, I presume? Naruto nodded eagerly, bouncing on his toes. You bet, Gigi. What VE you got for us today? Something exciting, I hope. Hiruzen chuckled, exchanging a glance with Kakashi. Well, let's see here. We have a few D ranks available. There's a request to help with the village's annual dog wash, a mission to catch the daimyo's wife's cat again, and here's an interesting one, helping to paint the new fence at the academy. Naruto's face fell, his excitement visibly deflating. He opened his mouth, ready to protest, to demand a more challenging mission. But something held him back. A small voice in the back of his mind whispering about patience, about earning one's place. He closed his mouth, taking a deep breath. Wise decision. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. Wisdom increased by 1. Irika smiled at Naruto, pride shining in his eyes. It's good to see you showing such maturity, Naruto. D ranks may not be glamorous, but they're an important part of your growth as a shinobi. Hiruzen nodded, a twinkle in his eye. Indeed. However. He paused, taking a long draw from his pipe. I think Team 7 might be ready for a slightly more challenging mission. A C rank, perhaps? Naruto's eyes widened, his heart leaping in his chest. A C rank mission? Really? Kakashi's visible eye crinkled in a smile. I believe they're ready, Lord Hokage. They've shown remarkable progress in teamwork. Hiruzen nodded, rifling through the scrolls on his desk. With a flourish, he pulled one out, holding it up. Here we are. A C rank escort mission to the Land of Waves. At that moment, the door to the mission room swung open, and in stumbled a man who looked to be in his 50s. His graying hair was unkempt, and his face was ruddy with drink. He wore a simple sleeveless shirt and pants, a towel draped around his neck. His eyes were bleary as he surveyed the room, taking a swig from the bottle in his hand. What's this? He slurred, his voice rough. I asked for ninja, not a bunch of snot-nosed brats. Naruto bristled, his fists clenching at his sides. How dare this old drunk insult them? Insult Kakashi-sensei and his teammates? He stepped forward, ready to give the man a piece of his mind. Optional quest, defend your team's honor. Stand up for your team and prove your worth to the doubting client. Rewards, increased reputation with Team 7 and the client. Failure, decreased reputation with Team 7 and the client. Do you accept? Yes, no? Naruto's finger hovered over the yes button for a moment before he pressed it firmly. Quest accepted. He took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. Hey, old man. Don't go underestimating us. We're Shinobi of the Leaf, and a darn good team at that. The man blinked, taken aback by Naruto's outburst. Oh yeah? And who might you be, brat? Naruto grinned, jabbing a thumb at his chest. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage. And this is my team. Kakashi-sensei, our leader, is one of the strongest jounin in the village, a war hero. Shikamaru is the smartest guy I know, a true strategist. And Hinata, she's got the byakugan and the gentle fist, she's amazing. Together we're the best genin team around, believe it. The room fell silent, all eyes on Naruto. Then, slowly, Shikamaru started to clap, a wry grin on his face. Hinata joined in, her eyes shining with admiration. Reputation increased with Team 7. Kakashi Hatake, impressed, 80 out of 100. Shikamaru Nara, trusted ally, 85 out of 100. Hinata Hyuga, close friend, 95 out of 100. Reputation increased with Hiruzen Sarutobi. Current standing, favored grandson, 200 out of 1000. Reputation increased with Irika Yumino. Current standing, proud teacher, 300 out of 1000. Reputation increased with Tazuna. Current standing, reluctantly impressed, 20 out of 100. Quest complete. Reward, plus 50 reputation with Team 7, plus 20 reputation with Tazuna. Tazuna stared at Naruto for a long moment, then burst out laughing. Well. Looks like you've got some spirit in you, brat. Fine then, I suppose you'll do. He turned to Hiruzen, bowing slightly. I am Tazuna, a bridge builder from the land of waves. I expect you'll provide me with adequate protection until I complete my bridge. Hiruzen nodded, handing the mission scroll to Kakashi. Of course. Team 7 will ensure your safety. Kakashi, I trust you'll handle the details? Kakashi smiled, tucking the scroll away. Of course, Lord Hokage. He turned to his team. All right, my little genin. Pack for a 2-week mission and meet at the main gate in 20 minutes. We've got a bridge builder to escort. Naruto cheered, pumping his fist in the air. Finally, a real mission. A chance to prove himself and his team. He caught Hinata's eye, saw the excitement and determination mirrored there. Even Shikamaru looked eager in his own laid-back way. As they filed out of the mission room, ready to prepare for their journey, Naruto couldn't help but grin. The road ahead was uncertain, but one thing was for sure, with his team by his side, he was ready for anything. Believe it. The midday sun beat down on the main gate of Konoha, casting long shadows across the well-worn path that led out of the village. The air was filled with the chirping of birds and the distant bustle of the village, a peaceful backdrop to the gathering of Team 7 and their client. Shikamaru was the first to arrive, his pack slung over his shoulder and a bored expression on his face. Hinata followed shortly after, her steps light and her face filled with quiet excitement. Tazuna was already there, his pack at his feet and his eyes nervously scanning the horizon. He took a swig from his bottle, his hand shaking slightly. Just as Kakashi appeared in a puff of smoke, ready to chastise his team for their tardiness, a blur of orange came barreling down the path. Naruto skidded to a halt, panting and grinning sheepishly. Sorry, he said, waving his hands. I had to track down Choji to give him my spare key. He's gonna watch my plants while we're gone. He patted Shikamaru on the shoulder, a mischievous grin on his face. I told him you'd be out of the village too. I'm sure you would have told him yourself if you weren't so lazy. He stuck out his tongue, his blue eyes sparkling with mirth. Shikamaru bristled, his ears turning red. I would have had time if my mom hadn't been fussing over me the whole time I was packing, he grumbled. Troublesome woman. Naruto laughed, the sound bright and carefree. Shika's a mama's boy. Hinata giggled, her hand covering her mouth. I had a similar experience with Hanabi. She said softly. She wanted to make sure I had everything I needed. Father was more straightforward. He simply checked that I was prepared and sent me on my way. Kakashi clapped his hands, drawing their attention. Well, now that we're all here, let's hit the road, shall we? Tazuna's sweat dropped, watching the genin's interactions with a mix of amusement and bewilderment. What a strange bunch, he thought. But they seem close. Maybe this won't be so bad after all. As they set out, the village gates receding behind them, Naruto practically bounced with each step, his excitement palpable. Hey, Tazuna-san. What's it like in Wave Country? I've never been outside of the Fire Country before. Tazuna took a swig from his bottle, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. Well, kid, it's a lot different from your big, fancy village, that's for sure. We're a small island nation, see? Surrounded by water on all sides. He gestured with his bottle, painting a picture in the air. Our main trade is fishing and shipping. We're not a rich country by any means, but we get by. Or we did before. He trailed off, his face darkening for a moment before he shook his head, taking another drink. Anyway, it's a simple life, but a good one. Honest work, fresh sea air, and a tight-knit community. That's what Wave's all about. Naruto listened intently, his eyes wide with wonder. As Tazuna spoke, however, a strange feeling began to niggle at the back of his mind. His perception skill, honed through countless hours of training and missions, was pinging in a way he'd never felt before. Perception skill activated, sensing deception. Something about Tazuna's story doesn't add up. There's more to this than he's letting on. Investigate further? Yes, no? Naruto frowned, his finger hovering over the yes button. He glanced at his teammates, wondering if they had picked up on anything odd. Shikamaru's brow was furrowed, his eyes sharp and calculating. Hinata, too, seemed to be studying Tazuna with a hint of suspicion. I'll keep an eye on him, Naruto decided, pressing yes. There's definitely something he's not telling us. But what? As they walked on, the sun beginning its slow descent towards the horizon, Naruto couldn't shake the feeling that this mission was going to be a lot more complicated than a simple escort job. But with his team by his side and his skills sharper than ever, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The road stretched out before them, winding through lush forests and over gently rolling hills. The air was sweet with the scent of wildflowers, and the gentle breeze carried the distant crash of waves. Naruto, his senses heightened by his perception skill, noticed the way Tazuna's eyes darted to the shadows between the trees, the way his hand tightened around his bottle at every unexpected sound. He's scared of something, Naruto realized. But what? Bandits? Missing Nin? Or something worse? He edged closer to Shikamaru, lowering his voice. Hey, Shika, he murmured. Notice anything weird about Tazuna? Shikamaru's eyes narrowed, his voice equally low. Yeah. He's definitely on edge. And that story about Wave, he's holding something back. Hinata, her byakugan active, scanned their surroundings. There's no one nearby, she reported softly. But I agree. Tazuna-san seems very nervous for a simple escort mission. Kakashi, walking a few paces ahead, gave no sign that he'd heard their conversation. But Naruto knew their sensei was just as alert, just as aware of the potential dangers. Whatever it is, Naruto thought, we'll face it together. That's what teams do. As the day wore on and the shadows lengthened, Team 7 fell into a comfortable rhythm. Naruto chatted with Tazuna, asking about life in Wave and sharing stories of his own adventures. Shikamaru and Hinata chimed in occasionally, adding their own insights and experiences. Despite the underlying tension, the camaraderie of Team 7 was evident. They moved as a unit, each member attuned to the others, ready to support and defend at a moment's notice. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Kakashi called a halt. We'll make camp here for the night, he said, indicating a small clearing just off the road. Naruto, you're on firewood duty. Shikamaru set up the tents. Hinata, scout the perimeter. I'll take first watch. The genin sprang into action, each attending to their assigned tasks with practiced efficiency. Soon, a cheerful fire crackled in the center of the clearing, and the tents were set up in a defensive formation. As they sat around the fire, eating a simple but hearty meal of rations and wild herbs, Naruto couldn't help but feel a sense of belonging. This was his team, his family. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever secrets Tazuna was hiding, they would face it together. Tazuna, sitting a little apart from the group, took a long drink from his bottle. His eyes were distant, reflecting the dancing flames. I wonder what he's thinking about, Naruto mused. What's he afraid of? But those were questions for another day. For now, with the stars twinkling overhead and the soft breathing of his teammates around him, Naruto was content. He was a shinobi of the leaf, a member of Team 7. And together they could face anything. Believe it. The morning sun cast dappled shadows on the path as Team 7 and Tazuna made their way through the forest. The air was crisp and cool, filled with the chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. Naruto walked at the head of the group, his eyes bright and his steps energetic. Despite the peaceful surroundings, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had settled over him since yesterday. Tazuna's behavior, the hints of something more sinister at play in Wave, it all added up to a picture that made Naruto's skin crawl. Suddenly, Naruto's instinct screamed at him. There, in the middle of the path, was that a puddle? On a dry day like this? Perception skill activated, threat detected. Unusual puddle on the path. Potential enemy presence. Investigate further? Yes, no? Naruto's finger hovered over the yes button for a split second before he pressed it decisively. Just as he did, the puddle erupted, revealing two dark, cloaked figures. They moved with blinding speed, wrapping a bladed chain around Kakashi before anyone could react. With a sickening tear, Kakashi was ripped to shreds. Kakashi-sensei! Naruto yelled, his heart in his throat. But there was no time to process, no time to grieve. The two attackers, the infamous demon brothers of the hidden mist, were already moving, bearing down on Tazuna with murderous intent. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata sprang into action, forming a defensive triangle around the bridge builder. Naruto's hands flew into the familiar sign of the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and a dozen Narutos popped into existence, charging at the attackers. The demon brothers tore through the clones with ease, their bladed chain whipping and slashing. But the real Naruto was already moving, his mind racing. Think, Naruto, think, he urged himself. What do we know about these guys? His mind flashed back to a lesson with Iruka-sensei about the various shinobi of the hidden villages. The demon brothers of the mist, Chunin level, known for their teamwork and their poisoned weapons. Poison! Naruto realized. That's it. Hey Shikamaru, he yelled. The chain. We need to get rid of it. Shikamaru, his shadow already stretching out to try and bind the brothers, grunted in acknowledgement. They on it. Naruto turned to Hinata. Hinata, the poison. Can you see it? Hinata, her byakugan active, nodded. Their claws, they're coated in it. Naruto's mind was whirling. The chain, the poison, he needed a plan and fast. Then it hit him. A crazy, reckless plan, but a plan nonetheless. Hey Shikamaru, he yelled. When I say now, release your jutsu. Hinata, get ready to strike. Without waiting for a response, Naruto charged forward, directly at the demon brothers. Hey, ugly, he taunted. Go over here. The brothers, momentarily distracted, turned towards Naruto. Their chain lashed out, seeking to ensnare him. But Naruto was ready. With a burst of chakra to his feet, he leaped, soaring over the chain. Now Shikamaru. Shikamaru, understanding in an instant, released his jutsu. His shadow snapped back to him and the brothers stumbled forward off balance. And there, exposed for just a moment, was the chain, stretched taut between them. Naruto grinned. His hands blurred through signs, and suddenly there was a kunai in his hand, but not just any kunai. This one glowed with the telltale markings of a seal. Thank you, Fuinjutsu, Naruto thought triumphantly. He threw the kunai, and it struck the chain dead center. There was a flash of light, a rush of wind, and suddenly the chain was gone, sealed away into the kunai. The brothers, suddenly finding themselves weaponless, paused in shock. And that was all the opening Hinata needed. She struck like lightning, her gentle fist a blur of chakra-infused strikes. She targeted their arms, their shoulders, the tenketsu points that would disable their poison claws. The brothers, caught completely off guard, could do nothing but fall before Hinata's onslaught. It was over in seconds. The demon brothers lay unconscious at their feet, their poisoned claws hanging useless at their sides. Naruto, panting, turned to his teammates with a grin. Oh, we did it! We actually did it! Shikamaru, a rare smile on his face, clapped Naruto on the shoulder. That was some plan, Naruto. Crazy but effective. Hinata, her byakugan fading, smiled softly. You were amazing, Naruto-kun. Both of you were. But their celebration was cut short by a slow clapping from the trees. They turned, kunai at the ready, only to see Kakashi-sensei. Naruto exclaimed, his eyes wide. But how? Kakashi smiled at them, stepping out from the trees. Substitution jutsu, he explained. I wanted to see how you would handle the situation. And I must say, I'm impressed. But then his gaze turned serious, falling on Tazuna. However, this does raise some questions. Those were no ordinary bandits. They were shinobi, chunin level at least. Tazuna-san, I believe you have some explaining to do. Tazuna, his face pale, swallowed hard. I suppose I do. Kakashi nodded. And I think it's best if my team handles the questioning. Consider it a learning experience. He turned to his genin, his eye calculating. Naruto Shikamaru Hinata. See what you can find out. But remember, a shinobi must see underneath the underneath. With that, he disappeared into the trees, leaving Team 7 alone with Tazuna. Optional quest, the truth of the mission. Discover the real reason behind Tazuna's escort request. Approach. The will of fire, confront Tazuna directly, appealing to his sense of honor and the greater good. The fire's shadow, use subtlety and misdirection to coax the truth from Tazuna. Rewards, increased XP, reputation boost with Tazuna and Team 7. Hidden bonus? Do you accept? Yes, no? Naruto stared at the quest notification, his mind whirling. The will of fire or the fire's shadow? Confrontation or subtlety? And what was this hidden bonus? He glanced at his teammates. Shikamaru's eyes were narrowed in thought, while Hinata's gaze was fixed on Tazuna, her expression one of gentle concern. Naruto took a deep breath. He knew what he had to do. Naruto took a deep breath, his gaze fixed on Tazuna. The bridge builder looked back at him, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear, guilt, and a glimmer of hope. Tazuna-san, Naruto began, his voice firm but not unkind. I think it's time you told us the truth. Tazuna flinched, his hands clenching at his sides. I don't know what you mean. Naruto shook his head. Come on, Tazuna-san. We're not stupid. Those ninja that attacked us, they were after you, weren't they? And I'm guessing it's not because you're late on your library books? Despite the tension, Shikamaru snorted at Naruto's quip. Even Hinata's lips twitched in a small smile. Tazuna, however, looked stricken. His shoulders slumped and he seemed to age before their eyes. You're right, he said softly. I haven't been entirely truthful with you. Naruto nodded, stepping closer to Tazuna. Look, Tazuna-san. My team, without our sensei, just beat 2 chunin-level shinobi. With Kakashi-sensei, we can handle whatever it is you're hiding from us. He placed a hand on Tazuna's shoulder, his blue eyes earnest. We're shinobi of the hidden leaf. We're the good guys. Whatever problem you're facing, we're here to help. We can settle the difference in mission rank later. Right now, what matters is making a difference. Quest update, the will of fire. You have chosen to confront Tazuna directly, appealing to his sense of honor and the greater good. Tazuna stared at Naruto, his eyes wide. Then, to everyone's surprise, he began to laugh. It was a laugh tinged with bitterness and desperation, but a laugh nonetheless. You're something else, kid, Tazuna said, shaking his head. All right. You want the truth? Here it is. He took a deep breath, his gaze distant. A wave country is dying. We're under the thumb of a man named Gato. He's a shipping magnate, but that's just a front. In reality, he's a criminal, a thug. He's taken over our country, strangled our economy. He controls everything, and anyone who stands up to him ends up dead. Tazuna's voice broke, and he had to pause to collect himself. The bridge, it's our last hope. If we can complete it, it will open up new trade routes, break Gato's monopoly. But Gato knows this. That's why he wants me dead. Silence followed Tazuna's words. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata exchanged glances, the weight of the situation sinking in. That's why you lied about the mission rank, Shikamaru said, his voice thoughtful. You knew you couldn't afford the cost of a higher-ranked mission. Tazuna nodded miserably. I'm sorry for deceiving you. But I didn't know what else to do. If you leave now, my country is doomed. Naruto's fist clenched at his side. He could feel the injustice of it all, the desperation in Tazuna's voice. This was what being a shinobi was about, wasn't it? Helping those in need, fighting against tyranny and oppression? He looked at his teammates. Shikamaru's face was set in grim determination, while Hinata's eyes shone with compassion and resolve. Naruto turned back to Tazuna, a grin spreading across his face. Oh well, I guess we have no choice then. We're going to help you complete that bridge, Tazuna-san. And we're going to show this Gato guy what happens when you mess with the shinobi of the leaf. Quest complete, the Will of Fire. You have successfully persuaded Tazuna to reveal the truth and reaffirmed your commitment to the mission. Rewards. Increased reputation with Tazuna and Team 7. +2 Charisma. New skill, Diplomacy, Beginner 150/250. Tazuna's eyes widened and then, to Naruto's surprise, they filled with tears. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you so much. A slow clapping from the trees made them all turn. Kakashi stepped out, his visible eye crinkled in a smile. Well said, Naruto, he praised, ruffling Naruto's hair. After a speech like that, we really have no choice, do we? We'll continue the mission and see it through to the end. Naruto beamed, his heart swelling with pride and purpose. This was what being a shinobi was all about. This was the Will of Fire? As they set off again, the road ahead seemed to stretch out with new meaning. They were no longer just escorts, they were harbingers of hope, champions of justice. And Naruto knew, with a certainty that resonated in his very bones, that no matter what challenges lay ahead, Team 7 would face them together. For that was the way of the shinobi of the leaf. The mist hung heavy in the seaside clearing, a shroud of ghostly white that seemed to swallow all sound and light. Team 7 stood in a tight circle around Tazuna, their eyes straining to penetrate the fog, their hearts pounding with a fear they had never known before. Naruto's mind raced, replaying the events that had led them to this moment. It had all started with a rabbit, white as snow, darting across their path. His perception skill had pinged, alerting him to the oddity. A snow rabbit? But it's not winter. He had thought, just before Hinata's scream tore through the air. Get down, she had yelled, fear and urgency in her voice. They had hit the ground just as a massive sword had spun over their heads, embedding itself in a nearby tree. And there, standing atop the blade, was a man. Tall and muscular, with bandages covering the lower half of his face, and a hitayate bearing the symbol of the hidden mist. Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the hidden mist. What followed was a clash of titans. Kakashi, their laid-back, perpetually late sensei, had transformed before their eyes. Gone was the lazy slouch, replaced by the coiled tension of a predator. His sharingan was exposed, the red eye gleaming with deadly intent. But even Kakashi, the famed copy ninja, seemed to strain against Zabuza's onslaught. The missing nin was a force of nature, his water jutsu transforming the very battlefield into a weapon. And then came the killing intent. It was like nothing Naruto had ever felt before. A heaviness in the air, a primal terror that seeped into his bones. He could feel it, the certainty of death, the promise of blood and pain. Beside him, Hinata was pale as a ghost, her eyes wide and haunted. Even Shikamaru, usually so unflappable, had a sheen of sweat on his brow. And then, through the mist, Hinata's voice, shrill with terror, Kakashi-sensei? They turned and there, through a parting in the fog, they saw it. Kakashi, trapped in a sphere of water, Zabuza's hand maintaining the prison. Run! Kakashi yelled, his voice distorted by the water. Take Tazuna and run. This fight is over, he's too strong. But Zabuza only laughed, a sound as cold and merciless as the mist itself. Listen to your sensei, little pretend ninja. Playing at being shinobi in your peaceful village. You know nothing of the real world, of the blood and death that is a ninja's life. Two water clones emerged from the mist, Zabuza's cold eyes staring out from each of them. They advanced on the genin, swords at the ready. Naruto's hand tightened on his kunai. Run? Leave Kakashi-sensei behind? Leave the mission incomplete? It went against everything he believed in, everything he had trained for. He glanced at Shikamaru, saw the gears turning in his friend's mind. Shikamaru had fallen into his thinking pose, his hands forming a circle, his eyes closed in concentration. Come on, Shika, Naruto thought desperately. If anyone can think us out of this, it's you. The seconds ticked by, each one an eternity. The water clones drew closer, the mist swirling around them. Then, slowly, Shikamaru's eyes opened. He stood, his posture relaxed but his eyes sharp with determination. Naruto felt a flicker of hope. He stepped closer to Shikamaru, his voice low and urgent. You got a plan? Shikamaru glanced at him, a wry smile tugging at his lips. Then, with a shrug that seemed to belie the gravity of the situation, he spoke. Maybe. It's a drag, but I think I've got something. And with those words, hanging in the mist like a promise or a prayer, the scene fades to black. The mist swirled thick and heavy, a suffocating blanket that muffled all sound and sight. The air was cold, damp, clinging to the skin like a clammy shroud. Team 7 stood frozen, their hearts pounding in their chests, their breath coming in short, sharp gasps. Through the shifting curtains of fog, they could just make out the sight of Kakashi, their sensei, their rock, trapped in a sphere of water. Zabuza's hand, protruding from the sphere, maintained the jutsu with mocking ease. Naruto's grip on his kunai was white-knuckled, his knees trembling with a fear he had never known. Beside him, Hinata's eyes were wide, her byakugan straining to pierce the mist. Shikamaru stood still, his face a mask of concentration. Then Naruto felt it. A twitch in his shadow, a subtle pull. He glanced down, saw his shadow connected to Shikamaru's, saw it stretch out to Hinata's. And in that twitch, that pull, he understood. Morse code. Shikamaru was sending them a message. Naruto explosions. Hinata water. Wait for signal. Naruto's heart leapt. A plan. Shikamaru had a plan. His hand drifted to his arms, ready to unleash his secret technique. The shadow twitched again. Now! Naruto leapt into action. His hands flew through signs, and suddenly, the skin on his forearms began to peel back, revealing the glowing markings of Fuinjutsu beneath. Jutsu, mutually multiplying explosive tags activated. HP -100. CP -250. Naruto felt the drain immediately, felt his skin strip away as the chakra surged out of him. But he didn't falter. With a roar of defiance, he thrust his arms forward, sending a barrage of explosive tags towards Zabuza's water clones. You're going down, Zabuza, he yelled, his raw, bloody forearms glistening in the muted light. The tags struck, and the world exploded in a cacophony of light and sound. The concussive force of the blasts rippled through the mist, the heat searing against their faces. Through the chaos, Naruto saw the water clones trying to counter, saw jets of water attempting to douse the flames. But it was too much too fast. The clones burst, dissolving into puddles. And in that moment of distraction, Shikamaru struck. His shadow, empowered by the flickering light of the explosions, surged forward, ensnaring Zabuza in its grasp. Zabuza struggled, his eyes widening in shock. But he couldn't move, couldn't break free. And then Hinata was there, rising from the water behind him like a vengeful spirit. Her hand, glowing with chakra, struck the base of Zabuza's neck with pinpoint precision. Zabuza went rigid, then slumped, the water prison dissipating around Kakashi. For a moment, there was silence. Then, a hail of ice Senbon needles burst from the water, striking Kakashi in the neck, in the chest, in the vital points. Kakashi's eyes widened in shock and pain. He staggered, then fell, disappearing beneath the surface of the water. Kakashi-sensei! Naruto and Hinata's voices rang out in unison, a cry of anguish and disbelief. Naruto felt something snap inside him, felt a surge of rage and despair unlike anything he had ever known. Red chakra burst from his body, enveloping him in a cloak of malevolent energy. Warning, QB chakra overload detected. Attempting to balance. Naruto barely registered the notifications flashing before his eyes. All he could see was Kakashi falling, all he could feel was the rage burning in his veins. With a roar that shook the very air, he rocketed forward, his eyes fixed on the spot where Kakashi had fallen. But before he could reach it, a figure emerged from the water. It was the hunter Nin, Zabuza's unconscious form slung over their shoulder. They stepped back, into a mirror of ice that had formed behind them. Naruto's fist smashed into the mirror a split second too late. It shattered into 1,000 glittering shards, but the hunter Nin was gone, vanished into the mist. Behind him, Hinata dived into the water, her byakugan blazing. She surfaced a moment later, Kakashi's limp form in her arms. Shikamaru's shadow lashed out, trying to restrain the rampaging Naruto. But the red chakra burned it away, and Naruto broke free, his eyes, now slitted and feral, locking onto Hinata and Kakashi. His chakra! Hinata cried out, her voice edged with desperation and hope. It's still circulating. He's alive. Sweat poured down Shikamaru's face as he struggled to maintain his hold on Naruto. Naruto's eyes flickered, the slitted pupils wavering as he fought for control. QB chakra overload, balancing. Uzumaki regeneration assisting. Replenishing chakra reserves. Hinata worked frantically, her byakugan guiding her hands as she plucked out the sanbon, one by one. Then, with a precise strike of her gentle fist, she sent a pulse of chakra into Kakashi's heart. Kakashi's eye shot open, a gasp tearing from his throat. And in that instant, the red chakra drained from Naruto's system as suddenly as it had come. Caught off guard by the abrupt shift, Naruto's control over his chakra wavered. He sank beneath the surface of the water with a yelp, his rage replaced by confusion and exhaustion. Shikamaru let out a shaky breath, his shadow retreating back to him. Hinata cradled Kakashi's head above the water, tears of relief mingling with the mist on her cheeks. Slowly, painfully, Naruto dragged himself back to the surface, his body aching, his mind reeling. Kakashi-sensei, he croaked, his voice hoarse from the screaming. Gizia? He's alive, Hinata confirmed, her byakugan fading. But he's badly hurt. We need to get him to safety now. Shikamaru nodded, his face grim. Tazuna's house isn't far. We can regroup there, figure out our next move. Naruto nodded, too drained to argue. Together they hoisted Kakashi out of the water, supporting him between them. As they began the long, slow trek to Tazuna's house, Naruto's mind raced. The hunter Nin, Zabuza, the red chakra that had overtaken him, it was all a jumble of confusion and fear. But one thing was clear. This mission had just become a lot more complicated. And Naruto had a feeling that the true test was still to come. The journey to Tazuna's house was a blur of exhaustion and worry. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Hinata took turns supporting the unconscious Kakashi, their muscles burning with fatigue. Tazuna led the way, his steps heavy with the weight of the day's events. As they approached the house, a young woman burst out of the door, her face etched with concern. Father, she cried, rushing to Tazuna's side. What happened? Are you all right? Tazuna managed a weary smile. I'm fine, Tsunami. Thanks to these brave ninja. He gestured to Team 7, who stood panting and bedraggled behind him. Tsunami's eyes widened as she took in their state, Naruto's tattered sleeves and bloody arms, Hinata's soaked clothes, Shikamaru's exhausted slouch, and Kakashi's limp form. Oh my goodness, she exclaimed, her hands flying to her mouth. Quick, bring him inside. I'll prepare a bed. She hurried back into the house, calling over her shoulder, Inari. Put a pot of water on to boil. Team 7 stumbled into the house, the warmth and light a stark contrast to the cold mist outside. They laid Kakashi gently on the bed Tsunami had prepared, their faces pinched with worry. Naruto collapsed onto the floor beside the bed, his legs giving out from under him. He stared at his hands, at the raw, reddened skin of his forearms, as if seeing them for the first time. Whoa, he breathed, a slightly manic giggle bubbling up in his throat. That was some jutsu, huh? Shikamaru slumped down next to him, his head falling back against the wall with a thunk. Naruto, he said, his voice a mix of exasperation and reluctant admiration, you are the most troublesome ninja I've ever met. Naruto grinned, the expression a little too wide, a little too bright. But you gotta admit, it was pretty cool, right? I mean, did you see the size of those explosions? Hinata, who was gently cleaning the wounds on Kakashi's neck, glanced over at them. Naruto-kun, she admonished softly, you could have seriously hurt yourself. Those tags. She trailed off, her eyes lingering on the peeling skin of his arms. Naruto's grin faltered a little. Don't worry about it, Hinata, he said, waving a hand dismissively. I heal fast, remember? I'll be good as new in no time. As if to prove his point, he pushed himself to his feet, and promptly wobbled, his vision swimming. Whoa, he mumbled, stumbling a little. Okay, maybe I should sit down for a bit longer. Shikamaru snorted, but there was a fondness in his eyes as he watched Naruto slump back down. Idiot, he said, but there was no heat in it. Skill acquired, taijutsu drunken fist. Accidental discovery through chakra exhaustion. Current level, beginner 1 out of 250. Naruto blinked at the sudden notification. Ha, he said, a slow grin spreading across his face. Hey guys, I think I just learned a new taijutsu style. Hinata and Shikamaru exchanged a look, their eyebrows raised. Naruto-kun, Hinata said slowly, I don't think that's how it works. But Naruto wasn't listening. He was too busy trying to replicate the stumbling, wobbling movements, giggling to himself as he nearly fell over again. The sound of a cleared throat made them all look up. Tsunami stood in the doorway, a tray of steaming bowls in her hands and a small, dark-haired boy peeking out from behind her legs. I thought you might be hungry, she said, a gentle smile on her face. It's not much, but it's hot and filling. Naruto's eyes lit up. Ramen? He asked hopefully, his nose twitching as he caught the scent of the broth. Tsunami laughed, setting the tray down on the floor. Not quite. It's a simple fish stew. But it should help you regain your strength. Naruto didn't need to be told twice. He grabbed a bowl and started slurping it down, barely pausing to breathe. Shikamaru and Hinata were more restrained, but no less appreciative as they sipped at the hearty broth. Naruto paused mid-slurp, noticing the boy still hiding behind Tsunami. Hey there, he said, grinning. I'm Naruto. What's your name? The boy ducked further behind his mother, his eyes wide and wary. Tsunami sighed, ruffling his hair. This is Inari, she said, her voice tinged with apology. He's a bit shy around strangers. Naruto's grin didn't falter. That's okay. I was shy too when I was little. But then I learned that if you smile big enough, people will usually smile back. He demonstrated, his grin stretching from ear to ear. Inari blinked, then, slowly, the corners of his mouth twitched upwards. Charisma increased by 1. Naruto's grin, if possible, got even wider. See? It works. The room seemed to lighten, the tension easing a little as Inari emerged from behind his mother, curiosity overcoming his shyness. As Naruto chattered away to the boy, telling him exaggerated tales of his adventures, Shikamaru leaned over to Hinata. He's good with kids, he murmured, his eyes on Naruto. Who would have thought? Hinata smiled, her gaze soft as she watched Naruto. He understands loneliness, she said quietly. And how to overcome it. Shikamaru hummed in agreement, leaning back and closing his eyes. Wake me up if anything troublesome happens, he mumbled, already drifting off. Hinata shook her head fondly, turning back to tend to Kakashi. Despite the uncertainty that lay ahead, despite the dangers they had faced and the challenges still to come, she felt a warmth in her chest. They were Team 7. They had each other. And together they could face anything. As the afternoon wore on and the bowls were emptied and cleared away, as Naruto's animated stories gave way to soft snores, as Kakashi slept on and Inari wandered back to his room and Tazuna and Tsunami spoke in low, worried tones in the kitchen, Hinata allowed herself a moment to breathe. To hope. The battle was far from over. But for now, in this moment of peace, she let herself believe that everything would be all right. As the day drew to a close and the inhabitants of Tazuna's house settled in for the night, Team 7 found themselves gathered in the room where Kakashi lay recovering. The events of the day hung heavy in the air, a weight that couldn't be ignored. Shikamaru, his face serious, broke the silence. So, he said, his voice low, are we going to talk about what happened out there? With Naruto? Naruto stiffened, his heart pounding in his chest. He'd known this moment would come, but that didn't make it any easier. To his surprise, it was Hinata who spoke first. I already knew, she admitted softly, her eyes downcast. About Naruto-kun's condition. Naruto's head snapped up, his eyes wide. You did? He asked, his voice a mix of surprise and trepidation. Hinata nodded, a blush rising to her cheeks. The byakugan, it's known as the all-seeing eye. I've always been able to see the chakra within you, Naruto-kun. The red chakra. Shikamaru raised an eyebrow, a sly grin tugging at his lips. The always, huh? Just how closely have you been looking at Naruto Hinata? Hinata's blush deepened, and she ducked her head, mumbling something incoherent. Shikamaru chuckled, but his expression quickly turned serious again. I had my suspicions too, he admitted, leaning back on his hands. The way the villagers treated you, the whispers, the glares, it didn't add up. But you never gave me a reason to pry. Until now, that is. Naruto sighed, running a hand through his hair. This was unfamiliar territory for him, discussing his deepest secret with his friends. But these weren't just any friends, they were his team. If he couldn't trust them, who could he trust? So, he started, his voice a little shaky, I guess I'm the container for the Kyuubi? It came out as more of a question than a statement, his uncertainty clear. The fourth Hokage, he sealed it into me when I was a baby. That's why I have so much chakra, why I heal so fast. Why the villagers? He trailed off, his eyes distant. He shook his head, trying to inject some levity into his voice. I guess you could say I've got a real live-in tenant, huh? Hope he's paying rent. It was a weak joke, but it served its purpose. The tension in the room eased a little, Shikamaru snorting and Hinata giggling softly. Naruto-kun, Hinata said, her voice filled with warmth and understanding, this doesn't change anything. You're still you. You're still our teammate, our friend. Shikamaru nodded, his expression unusually earnest. She's right. You're still the same troublesome knucklehead you've always been. Just with a little extra baggage. Naruto felt a lump form in his throat, his eyes stinging. He'd never dared to hope for acceptance, for understanding. But here it was, freely given by the people he cared about most. Thanks, guys, he managed, his voice rough with emotion. That means a lot. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, the bond between them stronger than ever. Then Shikamaru yawned, stretching his arms above his head. Well, as heartwarming as this is, we should probably figure out the watch schedule. We need to be alert in case those Kirinin come back. Hinata nodded, her face serious. I can take first watch. My byakugan can keep an eye on the perimeter. Shikamaru hummed in agreement. I'll take second. My shadow possession can immobilize any threats. He looked at Naruto, a glint in his eye. Naruto, you take last watch. That way you can get some sleep and let those freaky healing powers of yours do their thing. Naruto started to protest, but a huge yawn interrupted him. Maybe Shikamaru had a point. He was feeling pretty drained, both physically and emotionally. Fine, he grumbled, flopping back onto his bedroll. But wake me if anything happens, okay? Hinata smiled, her eyes soft. We will, Naruto-kun. Get some rest. As Naruto drifted off to sleep, the soft murmur of his teammates' voices in the background, he felt a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with the Kyuubi's chakra. For the first time in his life, he truly felt like he belonged. Like he was part of something bigger than himself. He was a member of Team 7. And together they could face anything. Shikamaru stirred from his slumber, his mind instantly alert despite the lingering fog of sleep. There was a bustle of activity in the house, more than he would have expected given the early hour. Too many feet, he thought sarcastically. Either Naruto was feeling better already or Tsunami was throwing them a party. And why did he smell baked goods? From what Tazuna had said, the country was being strangled by Gato. Tsunami shouldn't be doing anything extravagant for them. His senses tingled for a moment before he felt a breath on his face. Shikamaru kept his eyes closed, his body still. He knew that presence, that mischievous energy. Really getting on top of the day, huh, Naruto? He said dryly, not bothering to open his eyes. A troublesome blonde. There was a yelp of surprise, and the weight on his chest vanished. Shikamaru cracked an eye open to see Naruto, or rather a clone of Naruto, grinning down at him. Ah man, Shikamaru, the clone whined, pouting. I was gonna scare you awake. How'd you know it was me? Shikamaru sat up, yawning. You're about as subtle as a bull in a china shop, Naruto. Even your clones can't hide that troublesome energy of yours. The clone stuck out its tongue. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just here to wake you. Kakashi-sensei is up, sort of, and he wants to talk to us. Shikamaru raised an eyebrow. Kakashi was awake? That was faster than he'd expected. He hauled himself to his feet, following the clone out of the room. In the main room, he found a surprising scene. Kakashi was indeed awake, propped up on a futon with a cup of tea in his hands. His usually spiky hair was uncharacteristically flat, giving him a softer, more vulnerable look. Naruto and Hinata were also there, both looking suspiciously chipper for the early hour. The smell of baked goods was stronger here, and Shikamaru could see a tray of muffins and pastries on the table. Kakashi looked up as Shikamaru entered, his visible eye crinkling in a smile. "Bah, Shikamaru. Good, we're all here. I want to hear what information you've gathered about the situation." Naruto bounced on his heels, his hand shooting up like he was in class. "Goo, I'll go first." Without waiting for permission, he launched into his tale. "So, I woke up for last watch before dawn, right? And I thought, why not send out some shadow clones to patrol and gather info? But you won't believe what I found. The town really is a slum, Kakashi-sensei. And if there's one thing I know how to do, it's change people's opinions on things." He puffed out his chest, grinning. "So I started pranking Gato's men publicly. And when kids tried to beg or steal from me, I started handing out food that I had sealed away." Shikamaru's eyes narrowed. Sealed away? Clones wouldn't be able to access goods he had sealed. Hinata chimed in, her voice soft but excited. "When I woke up and Naruto-kun told me what he and his clones were doing, I asked if he had any ingredients sealed away. I thought maybe I could cook something to help distribute the food." Naruto's grin turned sly. And like any good gamer, I had everything in my inventory sealed away already. So Hinata started cooking using my ingredients, making all these awesome baked goods to hand out. What the heck was that supposed to mean? Shikamaru's eyes narrowed as more and more pieces of Naruto didn't totally line up. Kakashi nodded along as they spoke, his eye curving in a smile. "Very productive, my little genin. You've been busy bees this morning." Then he turned to Shikamaru, his gaze sharpening. "And what do you think, Shikamaru? How have they done everything wrong for the mission?" Shikamaru froze, his mind racing. Wrong for the mission? What did Kakashi mean? Sure, Naruto and Hinata had been a bit unorthodox, but they'd been helping the town, hadn't they? He opened his mouth to respond, but the words wouldn't come. For once, Shikamaru Nara, the genius strategist, was at a loss. Kakashi's gaze was unwavering, expectant. Shikamaru swallowed, his mind whirling as he tried to piece together what his sensei was getting at. As the pieces clicked into place, Shikamaru's eyes widened. Their mission was to protect Tazuna, and if anything, Naruto's actions were drawing danger to themselves. What's worse, the implication of the hunter Nin leaving with Zabuza wasn't lost on him. He turned to Kakashi, his voice serious. "Sensei, just how hurt are you really?" Kakashi sighed, setting down his tea. "I'll be out for at least a week, Shikamaru. My chakra is depleted, and my body needs time to recover." Shikamaru nodded, his mind already racing ahead. "Then we have a problem. Naruto's actions have drawn a target on our backs. He's aggravated Gato and drawn more attention to us when our strongest fighter is out of commission. We have no idea when Zabuza or his hunter ninja, or even a gang of Gato's thugs might arrive." Hinata started to sputter and stammer in Naruto's defense. But Naruto-kun was just trying to help. "The people here, they're suffering so much." But she trailed off as she caught sight of Naruto's face. He was smirking, a gleam of mischief in his eye. "I actually, Kakashi-sensei," he said, his voice brimming with confidence, "you're thinking too small." He leaned forward, his grin widening. "See, with Kakashi-sensei down indefinitely, and Hinata saying that closing Zabuza's Tenketsu blocking the flow to his brain would keep him in a coma for 72 hours, and that he'd need time to recover and could even have permanent brain damage afterwards, well, the best way to win this quest is to unemploy Zabuza and the hunter before they can round on us." He held up his hands as if picturing a grand scheme. "I'm no assassin, but I sure have a way with people. And without all the prejudice I face in Konoha with all the side quests available here, I'm betting I can turn the tide of wave before Zabuza and the hunter are even ready to fight." Silence followed his declaration. Crickets chirped in the background, the only sound in the sudden stillness of the room. Then Shikamaru groaned, falling back onto the hard floor with a thunk. Troublesome, he muttered, his mind whirling. Because as much as he hated to admit it, Naruto had a point. It was a crazy plan, reckless and unpredictable. But it was also bold, proactive. If they could win over the people of Wave, if they could destabilize Gato's hold before Zabuza recovered. Kakashi, however, was frowning. Naruto, he said sternly, you can't just act so publicly, so rashly. It's not in the best interest of the mission. We're here to protect Tazuna, not start a revolution. But Naruto was undeterred. He stood up, his eyes blazing with conviction. My quest, he said, his voice ringing with determination, is to liberate Wave. Mission or not. I would never leave a comrade behind, and right now, I'm on the team of the oppressed. I'd be worse than trash if I abandoned my team. Kakashi looked dumbfounded, his visible eye wide with surprise. But Shikamaru and Hinata, they were standing up, moving to Naruto's side. He's right, Shikamaru said, his usual drawl tinged with resolve. It's a drag, but it's the right thing to do. Hinata nodded, her eyes shining with admiration as she looked at Naruto. We can't just sit by and do nothing. Not when we have the power to help. Kakashi stared at them, his gaze moving from one determined face to the next. Then, slowly, he reached up and scratched the back of his head, a nervous chuckle escaping him. Well then, he said, his tone a mix of resignation and pride, I guess that's that. He looked at Naruto, a glimmer of something like respect in his eye. Looks like we're doing things your way, Naruto. Kami help us all. Naruto's grin could have lit up the room. Oh, believe it, Kakashi-sensei. Team 7 is gonna take Wave by storm. And as the morning sun streamed through the windows, casting the room in a golden glow, it seemed almost possible. A ragtag team of genin, led by an unpredictable blonde with a heart as big as his dreams. Maybe, just maybe, they could pull this off. Quest: Green Acres. Objective: assist local farmers in revitalizing their crops. Reward: increased reputation with Wave, gardening skill XP. Naruto wiped the sweat from his brow, surveying the field before him. The soil was dry, the plants withered and struggling. But he could feel the potential, the life waiting to burst forth. He closed his eyes, reaching out with his senses. His gardening skill pulsed, guiding his hands as he worked. He tilled the soil, his clones working in perfect unison. They planted seeds, their movements efficient and precise. Gardening skill has increased. Level up, gardening, intermediate, 250/500. Naruto grinned as the notification flashed before his eyes. He could feel the difference, the way the plants responded to his touch. Day by day, the fields came back to life. Green shoots burst from the earth, reaching for the sun. The farmers watched in awe as their barren lands turned lush and vibrant. Reputation with Wave has increased. Grateful farmers, 200 out of 1,000. Naruto stood amidst the bounty, his heart full. This was what being a ninja was about. Not just fighting, but helping, nurturing. Bringing life back to the land. One seed at a time. Quest: a bounty of the sea. Objective: help the fishermen of Wave fill their boats and nets. Reward: increased reputation with Wave, fishing skill XP. The sea was a glittering expanse stretching out to the horizon. Naruto stood on the deck of the fishing boat, the salt spray stinging his face. His clones manned the other boats, their bright orange forms dotting the waves. They worked in tandem with the fishermen, hauling in nets bursting with silvery fish. New skill acquired, fishing. Level up, fishing beginner, 75/250. Naruto laughed as he pulled in another hefty catch. Who knew fishing could be so exhilarating? The rush of the pull, the satisfaction of a full net. The boats returned to shore, their decks piled high with the fruits of the sea. The villagers gathered, their eyes wide at the abundance. Reputation with Wave has increased. Fed and happy, 350 out of 1,000. As the fish were distributed, as the laughter and chatter filled the air, Naruto felt a warmth in his chest. This was more than just a quest. This was a promise, a commitment. No one would go hungry. Not on his watch. The sun was high in the sky, its rays glinting off the waves far below the bridge. Hinata stood at the edge, her byakugan active as she scanned the surroundings for any signs of threat. Beside her, Tazuna worked, his hands steady as he guided his tools. The sound of hammering and sawing filled the air, a symphony of progress. Your friend, Tazuna said suddenly, his voice gruff but not unkind, the blonde one. He's something else, isn't he? Hinata started, a blush rising to her cheeks. Gien Naruto-kun? Yes, he's amazing. Tazuna chuckled, wiping the sweat from his brow. I've never seen anything like it. The way he just connects with people. Inspires them. It's like he's got this light inside him, and everyone he meets can't help but be drawn to it. Hinata nodded, her eyes soft. That's Naruto-kun. He's always been like that. Even when people were cruel to him, even when they ignored him, he never stopped trying. Never stopped believing. She looked out over the water, her heart full. He's going to change the world someday. I just know it. Tazuna hummed in agreement, his hammer striking a steady rhythm. Looks like he's already started here in Wave. You should see the town, Hinata. It's like a different place. People are smiling again, laughing. There's hope in the air. Hinata's smile was radiant. That's the effect Naruto-kun has. He brings out the best in people. Makes them believe in themselves. She activated her byakugan again, her gaze drawn to a distant point on the shore. There, glowing bright in her enhanced vision, was Naruto. He was surrounded by villagers, his clones working alongside them. The sight warmed her from the inside out. This was Naruto's gift, his magic. The ability to touch hearts, to change lives. And she was lucky enough to witness it firsthand. Quest: winning hearts and minds. Objective: improve relations with the people of Wave through acts of kindness and generosity. Reward: increased reputation with Wave, diplomacy skill XP. Naruto walked through the streets of the town, his steps light, his smile bright. Everywhere he went, he left a trail of goodwill. He helped an old lady carry her groceries, his clones taking her bags and escorting her home. He played with the children, his henge transforming him into a myriad of silly characters. Diplomacy skill has increased. Level up, Diplomacy Beginner, 200/250. The notifications popped up frequently as he moved through the town. Each interaction, each smile and laugh and grateful word, added to his XP. But more than that, it added to the feeling in his heart. The feeling of connection, of making a difference. Reputation with Wave has increased. Beloved hero, 500 out of 1000. As the sun set over the town, as the lamps flickered to life and the smell of cooking food filled the air, Naruto knew he was making progress. One heart at a time, he was changing Wave. And Wave, in turn, was changing him. Shikamaru sighed as he leaned against the wall, his eyes tracking Naruto as the blonde bustled around the room. Clones popped in and out of existence, each one delivering a rapid-fire report before dispersing. It was dizzying trying to keep up. But Naruto seemed to have no trouble, his eyes bright and his grin wide as he processed the information. Kakashi, propped up on his futon, watched with a mix of amusement and incredulity. He's really something, isn't he? He mused, his visible eye crinkling. Shikamaru snorted. That's one way to put it. Troublesome is another. But there was no heat in his words. If anything, there was a hint of fondness, of respect. It's like he's playing a game, Shikamaru continued, his brow furrowed in thought. Like all of this, the quests, the skills, the reputation points, it's all part of some grand RPG in his head. Kakashi hummed, his finger tapping against his chin. Some people that go through hardship have to change. They become quirky, ets him see the world in a different way, interact with it on a different level. Shikamaru nodded, his eyes still on Naruto. And we're all just NPCs to him. Side characters in his story. There was no bitterness in his voice, just a kind of wry acceptance. Because really, was it so bad? Being a part of Naruto's world, his game? Kakashi chuckled, wincing slightly as the movement pulled at his wounds. But we're not just any NPCs, Shikamaru. We're his party members. His teammates. Shikamaru's lips twitched in a smile. I guess that's not so bad. Better than being a random villager, at least. Naruto bounced over to them, his eyes sparkling. Ashika. Guess what? The fields are blooming, the fish are practically jumping into the boats, and the bridge is almost halfway done. Isn't that awesome? Shikamaru shook his head, a full smile breaking out on his face. Yeah, Naruto. It's awesome. You're doing a great job. And he meant it. Because NPC or not, side character or main, he was proud to be a part of Naruto's story. Even if it was the most troublesome game he'd ever played. Naruto's clone raced through the streets, his arms laden with supplies from the market. The town was buzzing with activity, the previously deserted stalls now bustling with trade and chatter. It was a sight that warmed Naruto's heart, a testament to the impact of his efforts. But as he turned a corner, his path was suddenly blocked by a figure stepping out of the shadows. Naruto tensed, ready for a fight. But the man who stood before him wasn't a thug or a mercenary. He was thin and middle-aged, dressed in a servant's livery bearing the emblem of Gado's company. Please, the man whispered, his voice urgent and fearful. You have to listen to me. Naruto's brow furrowed, but he nodded, signaling for the man to continue. The servant glanced around nervously before speaking. Gado, he's furious about what's happening here. The trade, the prosperity, it's a threat to his control. Naruto's eyes narrowed. What is he planning to do? The man swallowed, his hands trembling. He's sending his men, a whole squad of them. They're coming to shake down the villagers, to take what they can and scare the rest into submission. A cold anger settled in Naruto's gut, a fierce protectiveness rising in his chest. When? He asked, his voice low and serious. Soon, the servant replied, his face pale. Very soon. You need to be prepared to protect the people. Naruto's fists clenched at his sides, his mind already racing with plans and strategies. I will, he promised, his eyes locking with the servant's. I won't let Gado hurt this town, these people. Not while I'm here. The servant nodded, a flicker of hope in his tired eyes. Be careful, he warned. Gado's men, they're not to be underestimated. Naruto grinned, a fierce light in his blue eyes. Neither am I. With a quick thanks, Naruto stepped back, his hands forming the sign for his signature jutsu. I have to go, he said, to warn the others to prepare. The servant watched as the clone disappeared in a puff of smoke, a mix of awe and worry on his face. In the distance, the sound of heavy footsteps could be heard, the menacing tread of Gado's approaching forces. The servant shivered, sending a silent prayer to whatever gods might be listening. In a small house on the outskirts of town, Naruto's eyes snapped open, the memories of his clone rushing into his mind. His face set in grim determination as he stood, ready to face the coming storm. Gado's men were on their way, bent on violence and intimidation. But they would soon learn that this town, these people, were under the protection of Naruto Uzumaki. And he would not let them down. Shadow Clone skill has increased. Level up, Shadow Clone Jutsu Advanced, 500/750. Naruto sat cross-legged on the floor, his eyes closed in concentration. Around him, his clones popped in and out of existence, each one a conduit of information. He could see through their eyes, feel what they felt. The burn of muscles as they worked in the fields, the splash of water as they hauled in nets of fish, the warmth of a grateful smile. He sorted through the memories, the experiences. Allocating clones where they were needed most, adjusting strategies on the fly. It was a dance, a delicate balancing act. But with each passing day, each level gained, he got better at it. Quest update, the Great Bridge. Bridge progress, 60%. Worker morale, high. Naruto grinned as he saw the progress on the bridge. His clones were making a difference there too, guarding the workers, boosting their spirits. Piece by piece, plank by plank, the bridge was coming together. A symbol of hope, of defiance in the face of Gado's tyranny. And Naruto was at the heart of it all, his clones the lifeblood of the operation. The sun was setting over the town, casting long shadows across the streets. Naruto stood in the center of the market square, his arms crossed and his face set in a determined scowl. Around him, his clones bustled about, their movements quick and purposeful. Trap-making skill has increased. Level up, trap-making intermediate, 150/500. Stealth skill has increased. Level up, stealth intermediate, 100/500. The notifications popped up in Naruto's peripheral vision, but he paid them little heed. His focus was on the group of thugs swaggering down the street, their faces cruel and their weapons glinting in the fading light. Well, the leader sneered, his eyes fixing on Naruto. If it isn't the little hero. You've been causing quite a stir around here, haven't you? Naruto smiled, but it was a sharp thing, all teeth and no warmth. Just doing my part to help out. Something Gato seems to have trouble understanding. The thugs bristled, their hands tightening on their weapons. Gato understands plenty, the leader spat. He understands that this town owes him. And he sent us to collect. Naruto's eyes narrowed. This town doesn't owe Gato anything. He's done nothing but bleed them dry and leave them to suffer. He took a step forward, his voice low and dangerous. But I'm willing to give you a chance. Walk away now, and there won't be any trouble. Diplomacy skill has increased. Level up, Diplomacy Intermediate, 50/500. The thugs laughed, the sound harsh and mocking. You hear that, boys? The brat's giving us a chance. Their laughter cut off abruptly as a notification flashed before Naruto's eyes. Warning, deeply negative reputation with Gato Enterprises detected. Hostile action imminent. Naruto tensed, his body shifting into a ready stance. The thugs charged, their weapons raised and their faces twisted in rage. But Naruto was ready. His clones sprang into action, triggering the traps they had set. Ropes snapped taut, nets fell from the rooftops, and the ground gave way beneath the thugs' feet. In moments, the street was a chaos of shouts and curses, of bodies tangled in ropes and stuck in holes. Naruto moved through the mayhem like a whirlwind, his fists and feet striking with precision. He aimed for pressure points, for joints and soft spots. His goal wasn't to kill, but to incapacitate, to humiliate. To send a message. But even as he fought, even as he reveled in the rush of battle, he heard the cries. The screams of pain and fear that weren't coming from the thugs. His heart in his throat, Naruto turned. There, crumpled on the ground, were villagers. Innocent people caught in the crossfire, their blood staining the dirt. No, Naruto whispered, his voice cracking. No. He was at their side in an instant, his hands shaking as he tried to stem the flow of blood. But there was so much of it, too much. Medical knowledge skill insufficient. Seek immediate assistance. The notification was like a slap to the face, a harsh reminder of his own limitations. But Naruto didn't hesitate. With a thought, he dispelled a clone, sending its knowledge racing towards the bridge to his other clones. Towards Hinata. Please, he thought desperately, his hands still pressed against the wounds. Please hurry. The minutes stretched like hours, each second an eternity of blood and pain. But then, like a miracle, she was there. Hinata dropped to her knees beside him, her byakugan active and her hands already glowing with healing chakra. She worked with a focus and intensity that Naruto had never seen before, her every movement precise and purposeful. But even as she worked, even as the flow of blood slowed and the villagers' breathing eased, Hinata's brow was furrowed in concentration. Naruto-kun, she said, her voice strained. I need herbs, medicinal plants. My chakra can only do so much. Naruto was on his feet in an instant, a dozen clones popping into existence around him. On it, they said in unison, their faces set with determination. Just tell us what you need. As Hinata rattled off a list of plants and their descriptions, the clones disappeared into the lengthening shadows. They fanned out into the surrounding fields and forests, their eyes peeled and their senses straining. Herbalism skill acquired. Level up, Herbalism Beginner, 25/250. Naruto watched them go, his heart hammering in his chest. This was his fault. He had brought this danger to the town, had put these people at risk. But he would make it right. He would heal the hurt, mend the damage. And then he would make sure that Gato and his thugs never threatened this town again. No matter what it took. The forest was a symphony of rustling leaves and chirping birds, the sunlight dappling the ground through the canopy above. Naruto's clone moved through the underbrush, his eyes scanning the ground for the medicinal herbs Hinata had described. His heart was heavy, the images of the injured villagers seared into his mind. He had to hurry, had to find the herbs and get back to the town. Suddenly he stopped, his gaze caught by a figure kneeling in a small clearing. It was a girl, young and beautiful, with long dark hair and a basket filled with plants at her side. Perception check activated. Scanning. Match found, Hunter Ninja from the Clash in the Mist. Identity unknown. Threat level high. Approach with caution. Naruto blinked, the information from his gamer ability flashing before his eyes. This girl, she was the one from their way into Wave, the one who had taken Zabuza away. But why was she here in the woods outside of town? And why did she look so peaceful, so unlike the fierce warrior he had seen before? Curiosity overriding caution, Naruto approached, making sure to make noise as he walked to avoid startling her. The girl looked up, her dark eyes widening in surprise. "Oh, hello," she said, her voice soft and gentle. "I didn't see you there." Naruto rubbed the back of his head, a sheepish grin on his face. "Sorry about that. I didn't mean to disturb you. I'm Naruto, by the way. Naruto Uzumaki." The girl smiled, a small but genuine curve of her lips. "It's nice to meet you, Naruto. My name is Haku." Deception check activated. Analyzing. No deception detected. Subject Haku is being truthful about their name. Naruto filed that information away, keeping his expression open and friendly. Haku, huh? That's a nice name." He glanced at the basket at her side, his eyes widening in recognition. "Hey, are those medicinal herbs? You must know a lot about plants." Haku nodded, a hint of pride in her eyes. "I do. I've been studying herbalism for many years. It's a useful skill to have." Naruto's heart leapt, hope surging in his chest. "Haku, I know we just met, but I really need your help. There are people in the town, they're hurt, and I need those herbs to heal them." His voice was earnest, his eyes pleading. "Please, can you help me? I don't know much about herbs, but I'm a quick learner. I'll do whatever you need me to." Haku's expression softened, understanding dawning in her eyes. She stood, picking up her basket. "Of course I'll help, Naruto. Come, I'll show you which ones to pick and how to prepare them." Naruto's face split into a wide grin, relief and gratitude washing over him. "Thank you, Haku. You're a lifesaver, literally." As they set to work, side by side in the dappled sunlight, Naruto couldn't help but steal glances at his new companion. There was something about her, a gentleness, a kindness, that seemed at odds with the fierce warrior he had seen on the bridge. It made him wonder about her life and her motivations. What had brought her to this path, to be a tool in Zabuza's hands? But he pushed those thoughts aside for now. There would be time for questions later. For now he had a job to do, people to save. And with Haku's help, he was one step closer to doing just that. Herbalism skill has increased. Shared knowledge bonus, all clones affected. Level up, Herbalism, Beginner, 200/250. Reputation with Haku has increased. New bond forming, Haku intrigued, 50/1000. The sun was beginning to dip towards the horizon, casting a golden glow over the forest. Naruto and Haku had been working for hours, gathering herbs and preparing them for use. As they worked, they talked, sharing stories and laughter. Naruto found himself drawn to Haku's gentle nature, to the wisdom that seemed to shine in her dark eyes. During a lull in the conversation, Haku turned to Naruto, a curious expression on her face. "Naruto," she said softly, "I have to ask. Why are you doing this? Why go to such lengths for the people in the town?" Naruto paused, looking up from the plant he was carefully uprooting. "What do you mean?" Haku gestured to the baskets of herbs around them, to the dirt on their hands and knees. "This? Gathering herbs, rushing to heal the wounded. It's not something most people would do, not for strangers." She met his eyes, her gaze searching. "Do you have someone precious in the town? Someone you're doing this for?" Naruto was silent for a long moment, considering his answer. Then, slowly he shook his head. "No," he said, his voice soft but firm. "I don't have anyone specific. I'm doing this for all of them. For everyone in the town." Haku's eyes widened, surprise and confusion in her gaze. "But why? Why risk so much for people you don't even know?" Naruto smiled, a warm, gentle curve of his lips. Because everyone is precious, Haku. In their own way, every single person is important and deserves to be protected. He looked out over the forest, his eyes distant. I know what it's like to be alone, to feel like no one cares. I never want anyone else to feel that way. Haku was silent, her expression unreadable. Naruto turned back to her, his blue eyes intense. I believe that everyone deserves a defender, someone who will fight for them. And I believe that everyone deserves a second chance, a chance to change and grow. He reached out, placing a hand on Haku's shoulder. Hey everyone, Haku. Even those who have done wrong. Even those who have hurt others. Haku stiffened under his touch, her eyes wide and vulnerable. Even someone like me? Naruto's grip tightened, his gaze unwavering. Especially someone like you. For a long moment, they stared at each other, a understanding passing between them. Then Haku looked away, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. You're a very unusual person, Naruto Uzumaki, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Naruto grinned, the tension breaking. I get that a lot. As they returned to their work, a comfortable silence fell over them. But Naruto's mind was racing, the pieces falling into place. He knew who Haku was, what she was. But he also saw the good in her, the potential for change. And he was determined to bring that out, to show her that there was another way. Empathy skill has increased. Level up, Empathy Beginner, 100/250. Reputation with Haku has increased. Bond Strengthening, Haku Thoughtful, 150/1000. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Naruto and Haku gathered their baskets, preparing to part ways. Thank you, Haku, Naruto said, his voice sincere. For everything. I couldn't have done this without you. Haku smiled, a real, genuine smile that lit up her face. It was my pleasure, Naruto. I enjoyed our time together. Naruto beamed, his heart warm. Me too. And Haku? He met her eyes, his expression serious. Remember what I said. You're precious too. No matter what. Haku's breath caught, her eyes widening. But before she could respond, Naruto's clone disappeared, dissolving into a puff of smoke. In the clearing, Haku stood alone, the herbs at her feet and Naruto's words echoing in her mind. Precious, she whispered, testing the word on her tongue. I'm precious. It was a thought that would stay with her, a seed planted in her heart. A seed that, with time and care, might just bloom into something beautiful.